We are back live. Hi. I ended up getting I don't even know how many meetings today. So here's the plan. Pull Restream up on another window here. I'm going to write some docs. It's going to be very exciting. And that is currently the plan. I do not like writing docs. It drives me nuts. I really just want this release to be done so I can get back to doing cool science and engineering. So I'm just going to be here doing this for the next hour and a half, and then I'll be back in the morning. Goal is to make docs as good as possible in the absolute minimum possible amount of time. Stream view. There we go. Okay. Here's the current page. I think it's decent at least. People have told me it's not. I don't even know if people think that the docs aren't decent or that PufferLib isn't easier to use. Or PufferLib isn't easy enough to use. Because those two could be the same problem, right? Let me take a quick look at this and then we will start writing them. Okay. Paragraph of text. Does this do anything? PufferLib is a library for sane and simple reinforcement learning. Our key features are Clean PufferL. Our training demo is a turbocharged version of CleanRL's PPO plus LSTM, several-fold performance improvements, and major quality of life upgrades. Train at 1 million plus steps per second, and easily run hyperprimitive sweeps powered by carbs on dozens of environments. Okay. Vectorization. Synchronous and asynchronous parallel simulation at millions of steps per second. Our multiprocessing backend has native multi-agent support. Be over 10x faster than gymnasiums for some environments. Emulation. Compatibility tools that make working with complex environments a breeze. Your environments will still be in gymnasium petting zoo format, but it will use a subset of the API that is easier for most libraries to deal with. Even if you use nothing else from PufferLib, this layer is worth your time. That last sentence is dumb, but whatever. Ocean, our first-party suite of ultra-performant environments written in C. These are native PufferEnv API and each run 1 mil plus steps per second per CPU core. New environment contributions welcome. This tutorial contains everything you need to start doing RL 100x faster than most of the field. We also highly encourage you to read the PufferLib source. It's not like other RL libraries. Puffer does what it does in a few thousand lines of very simple code. It's also much easier to get help when you're stuck. Our Discord community is active and helpful. Alright, so this is decent information, I guess. Is this where this goes? I think this is a fine place for this to go. Hey, Plasma. Very exciting doc writing stream. What would users possibly not want? What would be unclear or confusing about this? Does this not give a good overview of what PufferLib does? Are you updating the docs? I'm working on it. I'm thinking how to first of all to update, and then second of all, how do I make shit simple and easy to follow, right? How do I make stuff easier for everyone? And I hate writing docs, so the only way I can force myself to do this is to stream it, basically. Otherwise I'll just sit here and not do it. Examples are the best way to learn. So let's see, do we have insufficient examples here? We have all these. We have all these. It could look more elegant. Yeah, but what does that mean? Right? That's not enough examples. Well, Raylib maintains a massive frickin' number of examples, right? This is just, these aren't, these are just examples of like running our demo. I mean, like for building environments, right? Every single one of our environments is an example. What if people want RMs with a custom PyTorch neural net? That's that's all of our code, isn't it? That's what all of our code does. I guess the layout of like an example of using RMs without our policy. I'm trying to think structurally how the hell we do that, right? Because like, I guess then it's like you want to load in like an external env and pass it to our trainer or whatever without editing the code, maybe. Or RMV with, okay. So that's not even docs. That's like I gotta make that thing something we can easily do. Because like right now it's like you go edit the torch file, right? For that env. This is definitely not enough on the training demo for the new version. So I mean, what do we want here? I guess it's like you pip install PufferLib. You can call PufferL to do the training script, I guess, right? run an N with the default customizer. Well, but like, what does it mean run it, right? Like train it? Or does it mean... Well, it depends, right? Like, you can use cleanRL, which is just like, you know, a third of the length of our train file, and get ridiculously slow training with like bad logging support and no checkpointing and no sweeps and none of the other stuff, right? Which is like the cleanRL PPO Atari. Like, you can do that, but like, and like, I guess we can provide that, like the file is there. And then with ours, well, the demo script is gone. It's all clean PufferL now. It's one script. So like, what I've been trying to work on here, what I've been trying to make easier, can we provide our own version of the cleanRL script? Can we provide... So I have two things here, right? That's using PufferLib. Yes. So this is cleanRL. We did this, right? So it's 295 lines. This has been here since the previous version as well. And like, this is cleanRL with just a few lines changed, commented as well. Where is it? Find it. Right here. PufferLib vectorization. So I did this, but like, the problem I have with this example is it's just like, it's so much worse than using our trainer. Right? Like, it's almost not even useful to do this in some sense. Like, I was thinking of leaving this example in. Well, we do have our trainer. Our trainer is right here. Where is it? So this is our trainer. It's 894 lines. And this has everything. And then the actual training code for this, right? We have, where is it? We have clean PufferL. It initializes all the experience buffer stuff. It has muon. And I mean, there's going to be more code here because we have learning rate schedule, we have AMP support, we have logging, you know, we have all sorts of profiling. Do we have an example of using this learner? That's all the examples, right? So basically in 2.0, well, 2.0 was the demo.py. I deleted demo.py, and demo.py is now just here, right? It's just been integrated with this code. What if I want to make my own Python script? So, I mean, this is the main function right here. I mean, it sounds like you just want, like, importable version of this, I guess, right? It's a little annoying because like you have to load in a pretty substantial config. Of recipes. What recipes? I've tried notebooks before as well. I haven't had anybody say that they're particularly helpful, and then I just have a fucking notebook to maintain, which is like, notebooks are awful. They're just like horribly slow, bloated pieces of code. I use our policy to train one of our M's. I guess the confusion is like, so in my mind, that is this script, right? And where like, this is one script here. Well, I actually do want to understand what you want here, because this is valuable user feedback, but I'm trying to like, because like, in my mind, this was the point of this script, right? In which I literally took what normally takes like a 50,000 line library or whatever. Like if you go look up here, if you go open like SB3, all right, if I go like open this code and like I just start clicking shit, right? Yeah, I can totally jump on. Here.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. And I'm trying to
Alright,
figure out how to make this thing better. It's just it's tough because like
yeah.
I is what you're asking for basically like can you just put all this stuff behind an API so we can like import and call it?
Kind of, yeah. Like for me, when I started like trying to contribute an env,
Mm-hmm.
my first instinct was, okay, how do I get basically this basic PPO to
Yeah.
to get like connect the PPO that we have to my env? Just the very basics. I don't want all this argument parsing and all this blah 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 with that demo.py has.
Mm.
So I was like, how do I make something that's like the smallest amount of code possible that will run my env? Uh,
Yeah.
which is kind of what I think would be useful for people because at least from my understanding, what PufferLib helps with is it allows people to create their own environments and train it with our own PPO or like policy and sweeps and
Mm.
whatever else, or they can create their own. And they can use one of our envs and train it on one of their custom PyTorch
So
networks or
they
something.
can use their network, but the thing is our trainer is so much better than everything out there. Like if you just
Right.
write your own train code, it's just not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, or if you just use SB3 or use CleanRL, it's just straight up not going to work. Like it'll just be
Right.
slow and it won't work. Like we've
Okay.
actually gone so far ahead of like of all the default
I
training
see.
implementations at this point. And like the thing is, so like when you're saying like the simplest possible amount of code, like if I just
Right.
start clicking around in like stable baselines 3, and keep in mind these are like very very slow implementations of standard algorithms.
Right.
Okay, so if I just click around here, like I've got ppo.py. Oh look, it's only 283 lines. Except wait a
Right.
second, it imports rollout buffer, on policy algorithm, actor critic, CNN script. It imports all this stuff. So then like,
Yeah.
okay, so I have to click in here and I have to go to common, and now I have to like
Right.
look how they have this. What's an on policy algorithm?
Yeah.
Okay, now this imports all this. Like, I will be clicking here for the next 4 hours,
Yeah.
right? So like,
Mhm.
I like here. This is. Let's look at this. This is 894 lines, which is like a good number of
Right.
lines, right? This imports
Mhm.
torch. This imports PufferLib,
Mhm.
and from PufferLib I
Right.
have sweeps, I have vectorization,
Right.
I have some PyTorch
Yes.
utils. There's no other high level stuff. Like there is no
Okay.
experience buffer being imported here. There's no like base algorithm class.
Right.
There's
Right. Right.
no
Right.
neural net AP. Like all of this stuff, all that stuff is contained in this 894
Right.
lines. So like
Yes.
this is in my mind, it's like
Mhm.
I've put so much time. I've probably put hundreds of hours at this point into like trying to make this as small and simple as possible.
Right.
So it's like yes, I can give you a 50-line thing that will run or less, right? That will let you have a policy, run it on your end with our vectorization
Yes.
and do inference. It's not going to train. Okay, I could give you this cleanRL script here, which
Mhm.
is right here, or not this one. This is the standard cleanRL script with PPO.
Mhm.
This is going to be
Right.
like minimum 10x slower, probably way more than that. Won't have logging, won't have sweeps,
Mhm.
won't have all our new algorithm stuff, won't have anything
Right.
that makes our stuff work. So like what's going to happen is you can play with this thing for months and you just like will get worse results than you get out of the
Right.
box with our thing. So like that's the thing that I don't know what to do with, right? Because it's
Mhm.
like, oh, just can we make it simpler? Can we make it simpler? It's like I've
Yeah.
tried.
Yeah.
I've already
Yes.
compressed. I've already
Right.
compressed what every other library has,
Mhm.
like at minimum 5,000, 10,000 lines of
Right.
code. It's already less than 1,000.
So kind of what I mean by simpler is I don't want you to compress something like I don't want you to simplify inherent complexity or necessary complexity.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go back to that example of the clean PufferRL file,
So I've taken every single thing out of this
yeah,
file. Like
right,
I basically removed all the options on this. Like there aren't like
right.
a ton of different supported code paths. There may be like a few small things with switches left, but this is pretty much like this is what most users should want for whatever problem they're going to solve.
Can I
Here's the
see the main
simplest I could make
function?
it. Yeah. So here is
I mean,
the
I could
main
probably
function
just
is let's
go
see
on
how
it
long.
on my own.
So this is 821 line 821 down to 1040. So 220 lines, and this includes, so there's a bunch of arguments
Okay,
there.
you see, yeah, so you see all this stuff.
Hmm.
So what I want as someone who just wants to kind of start in is I don't care about argument parsing. I want literally as statically as possible, um, kind of a training script that is completely static that doesn't have anything uh, other than the training logic like the PPO stuff or whatever policy and the vectorization, the vectorization and such. That's all I want. I don't want any argument parsing. I don't want any config files. I want just the simplest of simplest. It might
Okay.
not be the best practice, but it'll help me kind of understand the core concepts of the project, and then from there I can look at what you have currently and be like, okay, yeah, there all this argument stuff is importing these kind of stuff, and instead of just putting 5 there, it's actually importing it and it's getting it from the like command line
So
arguments.
this
Does
is
that kind
what
of make sense?
CleanRL does for that. They have this
Mhm.
thing here, which is
Mhm.
just, they use Tyro, but like this is basically just argparse, right? This is basically just an
Mhm.
argparse wrapper where
Yeah.
they have all, they're not loading config files. They have to hard code everything in here, right, with all the
Yeah.
defaults. So we could do that, right, with ours, but then this is what
Yes.
happens if I do that. So
What
basically
happens?
this is how long our config files are.
Oh, okay.
This is how long
Oh God.
our config is 183 lines.
Okay.
So
I
like
see.
and
Okay.
it's
So what
also this
about?
thing, if I put those in the
Mhm.
defaults, I have to write those same like I guess technically I can have
Yeah.
that be the default instead of having a default file, right? But then I still have all the other M's. Every single M is still going to have its own config file.
Okay, so kind of what I'm saying. So you know how you have a default config that kind of when you have your own env config, it takes that own env and whatever arguments are passed in that env,
Hmm.
it overwrites in this default
Yep.
or whatever, like overwrites those. What if you keep that default in config, for the example, but then let people override it, like basically overwrite the only the kind of most important arguments uh, statically
So
for like the for this example
I
for
can totally do
this
that.
hypothetical
The thing
example.
is, the
Mhm.
reason I don't have that, and the reason I've actually tried to pull more things into this config file, is because argparse is kind of shit.
Yeah.
So like this is how long the code is with argparse. Like argparse doesn't just let you like write something like it is in a config. Argparse looks like the heck is it?
Oh,
All
I
right, so
worked with
argparse is like
parse.
parser add argument, name as a
Yes, yes,
string,
I see it.
type,
Yeah, yeah, it's all
default, and
that.
then there's a like help. And then for
Yep,
booleans, there's like the
yep,
store true
yep.
thing. Like there's
Mhm,
more
mhm.
stuff.
It's annoying. Yes,
So
it's
I'd have
annoying. I agree.
183 lines of this.
I agree.
And actually, this
I'm
doesn't
not.
even support. This does not even support nested stuff. So like, I'd have
Mhm.
to make it like,
Yes,
yeah, it's jank.
with lists and stuff. Yeah, it's annoying. I agree, and that's why I want that removed. I what I'm saying is
So
not
what then? Do you want? You
rep
don't want me to put the config here, then?
what I want you is to not have arc parse at all and just statically in the file override override whatever you need to. Kind of like um how a lot of like PyTorch tutorials do it is when they create like a neural network, they don't read the layer sizes and all that from a config file or from an arc parse. They
They
literally
just hard
just
code it.
set it. Yes, and that's what as a it's not the best practice, but as a intro, it's good because it takes that mental overhead of having argument parsing and all that stuff. It allows the person to focus on the main
Yeah.
concept, which is the
So,
vectorization and the policy.
and we had this at some point. So the way that this would look, right, what you're asking for there, the way that would look like is the defaults for this thing, this function would now have 50 arguments.
What do you mean?
Well, it would either be I'd have 50 lines of globals here, right?
Okay, yeah.
And that's not I can't even overwrite that from argparse
Right.
anymore. So now I have to have a separate
Oh,
script because I'd have to like I'd have to like get the string by name. I'd have to do some jank meta stuff in order to like map the hard coded
so,
stuff to that.
so what I'm saying is not is take away the arc parse, but not the argument file, not the .ini file. Keep that, and only, for example, like when I run my
Mm-hmm.
env, I configure like, and I can tell you I'm configuring like 7 arguments,
Mm-hmm.
like 10 arguments max. Everything else is fetched from that default file. So I
Yeah.
think what I would ideally like is like a script where it still reads the default config and
Okay.
does all the default stuff um, basically, and then and then the hard coded parameters overwrite specific parts of the default, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
1 second. Weston, just link me a
Yeah.
loss curve if you want me to look at it. Um
Um,
so
yeah.
here I could so technically, and I've played with this. Um
hmm
I can just move all of these into config files, right?
Okay. So like I see. Okay, so what I'm saying is I want also a script that is very static in the sense of like the environment, I want that hard coded. I want my environment to be just, let's say, breakout, right? And then my mode,
Mm-hmm.
I want it to be statically coded as train, right? And so you can remove a lot
So
of
like
those
I
stuff,
can
for
do
example, or
that,
like
right? But like
model path, you know what I mean, kind of thing. Yeah.
it's kind of tough because like if you want to
hmm
do anything, your your work loop on like let's say even the simplest possible thing that a new contributor would want to do, right? Which is
hmm
get an env work like make an env and make it work with RL, right? Like make RL train on their new env. So
hmm
like what you would do for that is you write your env, you write a test, maybe you manually debug, right? You like get your env to run. You're going to
hmm
do a couple of basic training runs. Maybe you're going to want to eval it to see like what the policy is doing, and then you're going to run a sweep.
Okay. I see, and the sweep requires a config file it
Yep.
can adjust hyperparameters for.
So like
So
basically as soon
what?
as you go
Yeah.
through the next thing, it's like you immediately outgrow that entire demo and I just have to copy paste the
Right.
whole file.
Yes. Okay. Um. Okay, that's that's an interesting point.
So like I
Um,
really, really care about this stuff. Like I want to minimize complexity, but I'm trying
mhm.
to figure out what the fuck curve.
So what I think would be cool is I think this is where
Weston, what you can't give me a graph that doesn't have any fucking labels on the axis, man, and expect me that like sometimes I'm telepathic and I can just guess your problem and tell you what line of code it is. I've done that a good number of times, but like you gotta at least give me axis labels for me to have a chance of doing that. All right.
Oh my God, I think that's reward. I think the access is the
But like
reward.
what?
But what
It's
is
a
250
histogram.
reward?
He
Yeah.
sent me a histogram. Like I've never seen a histogram in RL in my life.
Listen, he's ahead. He's ahead. Okay, he's
The blue one looks like it works for a while and then something breaks. Google Sheets?
Wait,
Why
you're
are
not
you
using
making graphs in
matplotlib or
Google
something,
Sheets? Oh
or
my god,
plotly
Weston, I
or
need to
whatever. What?
look, man. We need to get you on a proper tech stack, okay? It's like one of the best things you can do. I know you're like earlier on, so it's like one of the best things we can do is get you on a proper tech stack. That doesn't mean hand you a bunch of bloated tools. It means you give you
I
like the
agree.
minimum number of things, so you cannot be making plots in fucking Google Sheets. All right, pick. If you want to do it locally, use either Matplotlib or Plotly, or I've been using Dash lately. Those are all fine. If you want to
Yeah.
not have to deal with any of that shit and just have it done for you instantly, get a web tool. You can do even TensorBoard will do it for you locally and also in browser.
Mm-hmm.
You can get Wandby. Wandby is fine. Neptune, technically, they still have free accounts. Neptune's been pretty good lately. If you have to find it on their webpage, but you can sign up for still free accounts. Like, do one of these and just
MLflow.
log to there. You'll be happier.
Yeah. 100%. I. Yeah.
I'm gonna berate him a little bit
I-
so that he learns because I wish somebody
yeah.
had told me this shit when I was starting. Because
Oh yeah.
man, I
Oh
did
yeah.
way stupider shit than this. All right,
Oh
and nobody
you
was like, "Oh, that's so cool." It's like, no, dude, what are you doing?
you want to hear a stupid thing I did? I did not know how to display graphics really.
Hmm.
So what I did is I built a breakout env in Matplotlib and trained a Q-learning on it and
Dude, I've
Q-learned.
seen
Like,
freaking top labs use Matplotlib as their renderer. All right, that's not even that bad.
no way, I don't.
Yes, yes,
What?
top
Okay,
labs
so I
use
was
Matplotlib as their
revolutionary. Let's
renderer.
go.
All
Let's
right.
go.
Look, all right, researchers, they don't know shit, okay? They know, most researchers, they know like a bunch of deep learning kung fu, and they know like either some linear algebra or stats, probably not both, and like they know a bunch of papers. That's what we know, all right? Well, what most of us know.
I guess, yeah.
I
Well,
don't
you
even
know
know a
more.
little bit of stats, all right? You know what I know is I know a little bit of low level dev, all right, instead of the math. And that's what I get by on.
Yeah, dude. But there's some researchers with crazy math knowledge.
Ugh.
There's
And then you see the code that they write. Is it normal to go that high? Y equals loss. What loss? Policy gradient loss? Like there are like four different losses in RL too. Like it depends on your algorithm.
shouldn't it be normalized
Yeah, like I
loss?
don't know. Like you
Well,
can't just
not
say
loss,
loss. It's
but
is it entropy?
reward.
Is it
Oh,
policy?
I see.
Reward? Is no, it said loss. So
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah, you're right. You're right.
eh? Why are you even looking at this thing? Except that it's crazy. Yeah.
Uh, goddamn. Well,
Yeah, well, I'll answer.
um,
I'll answer, but you just got to give me
yeah,
some proper data.
yeah, no,
All
no,
right.
no.
So
Yeah.
let's.
Anyway, yeah. So what I was kind of saying with the simplified script is yes, I get that sweeps are like a part of the library, but I think introducing sweeps like right away, like might be not the best idea. I think
Yeah.
introducing concepts like and I think what you were saying with copying the whole thing, what you can do is not copy the whole thing. You can have one file that has all these examples and then in your docs site have it kind of I don't know, are you using like Sphinx or what are you using for docs?
We got rid of Sphinx. Now it's HTML, CSS, and a little bit of JavaScript.
Ah,
That's
okay.
it.
Well, what I was saying is, what if you kind of have, um, like, kind of like create something that introduces it step by step, if that makes sense. So like, here is like just us training it in the dumbest way, kind of thing, like an environment, and then this is how now we introduce sweeps. This is now how we introduce like X, Y, Z. You know what I mean?
Man, I've
Kind of like
tried so
in.
many versions of this.
Mhm,
It's like so hard to get one of these that like A
yeah.
works and then B is not immediately outdated as soon as I start hacking on dev.
Yes, that's why I like stuff like the Autodoc stuff, because then I do something and then I build and it picks it up from the
Yeah,
straight from
it's
the
just
source.
like
But yeah.
the Sphinx just wasn't worth it in my opinion. Like we had it in our old
Hmm.
site here. I think I can even
You have it on Internet Archive.
no, it's still technically hosted. So that oops, this is
Mm.
slash devs. So this is like our old 1.0 site here. And like you can see it was like way heavier than the old one, and we had like
Yeah.
these auto gen things that weren't really well
Yeah.
filled out. And like
Hmm.
you could scroll through, but like does scrolling through this don't do anything better for you than scrolling through the
Yeah.
code?
Yeah. Good point. But I think you know what the code. Um, I think what would be
Like
good
here,
is.
this is we had
Uh huh.
like this is how you use emulation. We had like stuff like this.
Yeah.
I don't think people liked it. Like I did stuff like this where like this was like
Mm.
this is how you this is actually this is how you use a policy, right? With and this is how you get actions from a policy.
I think that's actually really nice. I'm not
I
gonna
can
lie,
do
but
something like
maybe,
that. That's easy. Don't we still have
but
that?
what you can do is instead of having it like this in a file like that, what you can do is instead of having it in a website, you can just have it those explanation texts in comments. So create one example file with bunch of comments as like explanations, if that makes sense. Kind of like,
Oh yeah, this is the example I have here, right? The default
yeah, let
policy
me
is too
see.
long, but yeah, because I just
Yeah,
copied our
that looks
default.
good. That looks good. Um, I think what though is will be helpful with this is more comments like um okay, so yeah, we have the policy now. How do we connect it to like the, let's see, do you connect it to an environment here? Yes, you do. You
Hmm.
do vector make. Okay, yeah. So all these things, I think this is good. It just needs to be commented better for um not in your I like how it's commented for source code right now. Like as a contributor, I like this, but like as a new user, fill it out with comments, explain every little line, um, just so the
Hmm.
user can have it and understand it for the first time better,
Well,
if
my
that makes
favorite thing
sense.
about this is I get to delete half of it now because like I've made it simpler since. So
Yeah,
like all these
yeah.
cleaner out things are gone.
If
Weston,
you can
you
take
gotta split
that,
the loss
yeah.
up and figure out which of those is exploded. One of those is completely exploded.
Yeah.
Um, it's probably the value loss.
Yeah, if you can take this is the exact example I want, like this,
Okay.
but with just more comments
But like this still
for
doesn't
kind
tell you
of,
how
yeah.
training works or sweeps or anything, right? This is like
Right.
and so it's like a little rough because actually here, like I can delete most of the stuff from this default file. The thing is, you notice that we don't have there's no PufferLib base class here.
Right.
This is straight up just any freaking PyTorch network that returns
Right.
actions and values.
Ah.
So like
Okay.
there
What would it
isn't an
take?
API. It's
Yeah.
like you're looking for an
Yes.
API, but we don't have one because I like
Mm-hmm.
you don't want another API to learn, so I didn't make one,
Right.
right? Like that's the point.
Okay, so how would you do the same thing you did here, but with well, I think I already know the answer to this question. But
Weston, it's
how
people do that for 3 years straight in their PhD. Like, dude, RL's freaking hard. All right, like, what you are you running this stuff on Puffer? Because if you're not, like, it's gonna be hard. Like, I'll look at like you can link me some stuff at some point. All right. Okay, that's why it's not working. Just run the damn thing on a puffer trainer, and then you won't have to guess whether your training code is wrong, which I'm sure it is, or your env code is wrong, which it may or may not be. There you
So
go.
okay, so how? Let's say, for example, this is probably a good thing for Weston here. Like if he had an example of, here we go, this is a puffer trainer. This is how you run a puffer trainer on this env. Now switch it with your env, and you're
So
good.
what
You
I
know what I
was
mean?
thinking for that, here's what I was thinking for that. So you know how we have, first of all, people have been asking for me to make this thing pip installable so that you can run our trainer without having to clone the GitHub. Okay?
Yes.
So I did that. So what happens
Mm-hmm.
now is when you pip, what's going to happen is when you pip install PufferLib, if you
Mm-hmm.
just run PufferL from the command line, it's the same thing as
Mm-hmm.
running like Python clean pufferl.py.
Ah, okay.
So and you can apply all the same arguments. So what I was gonna do, and I have to add a couple lines of code to do this because if people want the feature, I have to add a couple lines of code.
Right.
But right now, the configs, it looks in this configs directory, right? What I was gonna do is I was gonna make it
Uh-huh.
also look in your directory where you run this command from. So if you put a .ini file in your directory where you run
Yeah.
this command from, it'll look for it and it'll try to like load from that. Or if you put like a
Okay.
torch.py file, if you put a model file in there, it'll like you can load from there. Or if you put like your n file in there, you can import the n from there. So I was thinking of
Uh-huh.
doing that so that like instead of like now just open folder and like edit the code in there, it's like, yeah, you can put your model file here, you can put whatever, and then I can just give like a little example project or whatever that's like using Puffer or whatever, where you can just like clone the Puffer
Yeah.
example project instead of all of PufferLib, and it has like, you know, 3 super basic files in it with like a dummy environment and like you know, a dummy policy and like a dummy config, and then it just like it runs with that.
So I get what you're saying, but I think going, and this might be wrong, but I think going the um more of the kind of importable way
Mhm.
would be better. Like second, I messed up some.
It's
Where is
so
it?
hard because you know that forces me to commit to an API that's going to change repeatedly.
Yes, I see. Um,
This was kind of
I
my
mean,
compromise because it's like giving an entry point like a command like pufferl. You kind of get that we're just running the demo script, but you still don't have to clone the whole repo to set it up.
well, technically it's an API, kind of, right? It's not programmable. It's just like a, you know.
It's a demo script more than anything, right? It's like it's just our current train script. One feels worse than the other, right?
I see.
One feels if you're writing code and because like you're writing code and you're importing shit from the API and then the entire thing is completely different the next update, that seems like it feels worse than the script that you ran has changed, right?
I mean, I don't know. Like, I find that I don't know. I'm more comfortable working with like with code like that more um than having it as like a like as a shell command basically, because that's kind of what you have right now. You basically have somewhat of a function in the shell, if that makes sense. So like let's say I want to create a for loop. Yeah, I can create it in Bash with the demo or with the clean pufferl.py,
Mm-hmm.
but it'll be much easier for me to be able to do that in Python and then involve
Well, you
pandas
can
or
import
involve what,
this.
you know what I mean?
You can technically
Okay.
import this if you want to, but like, you know, how much fun are you gonna have doing that without having this main function?
Well, that main function, what I
This
see
loads
this main function
configs,
does,
right? This loads all the
right?
configs, and then for sweeps, this has this has the loop for running sweeps in it.
Hmm.
So this has like this actually will figure out what type of sweep you want to run. It will set it up for
Mm.
you. It runs everything. So yeah, it's only
Yeah,
20 lines of
that's
code, but
cool.
it does all this. Um, like the
What?
alternative is
Yeah.
that I put this into a sweep function that you can import, I guess.
I guess what I'm kind of saying is, you know how you have here a main function that's basically has no arguments, nothing in it, and all the arguments are kind of fetched within it with the config file, with the like statically set config file or searched config file,
Yeah, it's because
and
if
the
I type all the arguments
parsed
out,
args.
there are a
Yes.
billion of them. I don't like having this config
Yes.
thing either. It's just a dictionary, first of all. Like this thing gets
Well,
parsed as a
yes.
dictionary, and like
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm not complaining about that. What I'm complaining about is let's say, I mean, here.
No,
Actually,
I
I'm gonna
want to
take
understand
if
this because the goal of this
yeah
is not to be
yes
right, right? Like the
right.
goal of this is to change it.
Oh
Because like the thing is, like it needs to be different and easier. I just don't know how because I've tried it like a dozen different ways, right?
yes. Okay. I'll then I'm sharing my screen right now, and I'm gonna. So is this clean Puffer RL on Dev branch right now?
Let's see. Let's see what we got.
What branch are you on
Yeah,
right now?
dev
Like
branch
that
clean
clean,
PufferL.
and it's on.
That's not
Oh, it's
the dev
yeah, it's
branch.
here.
That's not the dev
Uh,
branch. That's your
this is not the
fork.
Dev
That's your
branch.
fork of the dev branch.
That's my fork. Correct. Hey,
It's it's been quite.
my
It's you're
bad.
gonna see actually. I just want you to see the change in the amount of stuff that's there. Way less stuff.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh
wait,
yeah, you
wait,
don't have
wait.
the
That's not.
CUDA.
That's
You
still
don't have
not it. That's still not it. That's 2.0 branch. Go to
right.
dev.
Oh, correct.
Okay, watch all the files disappear.
Nice. This is
So
nice.
I'm working on it.
Okay.
I try very hard.
No, this is good. What I'm saying is, I'm just gonna copy this and kind of show you, um, what I was thinking more.
Mhm.
So right now you have this, where basically the main function here, um, basically
Ignore that
gets all
global.
the arguments here, right? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
ignore global.
that's getting fixed.
Yeah. What I was thinking is, what if you have all of this, right? All of this
Hmm.
argument parsing, you move it down to here, and then you have main function take those arguments. So the whatever args, it takes args or whatever, right? From the arg parser.
Well, the only that the reason that like that def main was an if underscore underscore like the only reason I have main and the if statement is because entry points requires that.
Yes, it requires it for multiprocessed Python. Yes.
So
W-
it's not even the multi-pro. It's just the entry point thing.
Yes, it well actually Python doesn't require this as entry point. At least to my knowledge, Python only requires this when you're running like multiprocessing, when you're doing multiprocessing, because then it doesn't know
Uh,
which file to start running, because it doesn't know which one is the main, like which one is the. So for
uh,
example, let's say um, I have a
hmm.
multi-process that imports this, like a like I used a multi-process
Oh,
Python
it's
package
not.
that imports this, you know?
I'm referring to something different here. I'm referring to like
Uh-huh. Okay.
the setup.py thing, like the entry point where you can export a
Ah,
shell command
yes.
to call a function. You can't
I
export a
see.
shell command that calls underscore main. It has to call an actual function. So if I do it that way, by the way, like since
It won't work.
entry points
Ah,
can't call this, then it can't call argparse. So that means that you will not be able
right.
to pass arguments to the transcript.
I see. Okay. So what I kind of want, at least in my opinion, is to have kind of what you have here is you have an argparse version. All of this,
I
you
can
can
delete
say,
all
and
that and
even
put it into config.
this. Well, maybe in the config, but I don't know. I just think that what if you have, even if you don't delete it and put it in a config, what if you have something like, I don't know, like let's say this is, um, I don't know, call it like you'll have, what's it called, you'll have CLI main, which is basically this, and then you'll have like main, which basically takes in all these arguments as keyword arguments. So you'll
Well,
have
they're
like,
like 180 of like it's not just
well,
those.
you have env, but what I'm saying is, I'm not saying the ones from. So what you do is you have like env, all those, and then at the end you have config path. So here is the path to the config file. They'll have all the hundreds of arguments, right?
Well,
That's
then
kind of what I'm
what's
thinking.
the point of having them in both places? Like I can just put them all in config and then not have all those in main at all, right?
Yeah, that is an option if you don't want to have a CLI kind of
There is a
command
CLI. Oh,
interface.
do you not know how this works? So it's kind of cool. If you scroll down a little bit,
Okay.
it's only like 30 lines of code. I've really tried to compact this thing. That dynamic help menu, that takes every single thing that it finds in the config file that you specifically load and also turns it into a CLI option. So everything in your config can also be set via CLI.
Oh. Oh shit. Yes, yes, yes,
Yes.
yes. I remember
So
that. I remember that.
I
Yeah.
worked very like this thing used to be 300
Oh.
lines. I worked very hard to get it down to this small. Like it's still annoying that there's like 20 30 lines of code here, but what this thing does, so this loads in your default config and then it
Right.
goes to your main config. It will find it for you, match it
Yeah.
by env name, overwrite defaults from both argparse and the default file with your
Yep.
args and then
Yep.
make a CLI for you out of them.
Yes. Okay. Okay. I mean, okay, that makes sense. Okay.
So I can take
So,
all these things out of
uh,
arguments, and if I can technically put them all in config, and it will work. The only thing that's slightly janky that I'd have to deal with is ini files don't have types. So like sometimes you'll
right.
put like false, for instance, and it'll be like the string false, which evaluates to true.
Right. Right. So, just to kind of understand this, all of this, all of what I just highlighted, and there's a little more down here, like this,
Hmm.
all of this is just argument parsing and extraction, right?
This is also config loading.
Yeah, and like that's what I mean, like our config and command line argument parsing and
Yeah, so
extraction.
this thing,
Right?
it does all of that, and it also makes the config menu for you. It makes
The config
The
menu,
CLI, like it makes the
yeah,
CLI for you
yeah,
as well
like
from
right here,
config. Yeah.
yes. But then after this, the only thing that you need after this is these, right?
Yes.
So what I'm saying is have a function that does all of this, so you have that fancy CLI args, but then also have an importable main function or whatever you want to call it that literally takes this
Just takes
as
config.
just or yeah, takes config
Okay.
or args or takes args, which is what you have here, right? This is
Yeah.
the only thing that's kind of used past here. You know? Does
Okay.
that make sense? Kind of?
Yeah, because then you could pass like a config to this, but then what goes in there?
What goes in here?
Hmm.
Or what that's the thing. That's kind of the beauty of it. You'll have it um
So yeah, you can
well
get rid
you'll
of my I understand the value in not having to read like my config parsing. Um so like if you just paste everything below the loading into that main function, is that better for you now? Because I still
so
have
like
dynamic.
have
I have still have a bunch of bullshit there.
uh, so like you're saying like you
Like I
have
just want you to see what it looks like. Okay, so there's still a bunch of
yeah,
bullshit, right? So you see all the
you have
dynamic import
import
crap?
modules, right?
Because what
Yeah.
this has to do is like if you're gonna specify the name of a policy in a config file, or you're gonna specify the name of an env, I have to go load that thing, which means I have to use
Right.
that as the import path, and I have to dynamically import it.
Yes.
So there's
Okay.
a whole bunch of import
I
lib
see.
crap that's a little confusing here. Uh,
Well, like it kind of makes sense. You're
mhm.
just saying like if it's ocean, use this kind of thing.
Well, but then
Or
it gets
well, if
called with
it's
import lib.
ocean, or else use this if it's the yeah, because you have here
Okay.
something. Yeah, okay. But
I
what
guess
I'm
it's
kind
not
of saying
terrible, because like,
is mhm.
is
Oh,
this
no, go
better
ahead, go
though?
ahead.
Is like that easier now to read that it starts like with this?
It's easier to read in the sense of like, let's say I'm a new person and I want I'm just gonna create, let's say,
You
example
just don't want
two.
to have to read my fancy config parsing, I guess, right?
Yes,
Okay,
exactly. So
I'm
like
fine with
let's
that.
say I can import main, right? And then I can just do main and I can give it my env equals let's say I want to give it my puffer boids and then I give it mode train and then I'm good to go. Does that kind of make sense? So instead of
Well,
having
you need to give it a
instead
config.
of doing Well, yeah, and then like config path, whatever, any config thing, something like
You
this.
can't give it config path like that because all my loading has to
Or,
load the default and then load your thing, right? So you'd have to load the
well,
config yourself manually now. You see?
um, so wait, okay, let me see what you
You
mean.
see, like this
So
is
if
why
I
it's
go,
like it's tough. Cause
yeah,
like you
right.
think, oh, now it's so easy for me, but it's not because you forgot about all the other stuff that I just did for you.
Oh, you're saying this?
Yeah, I have to load. So what you do is you make a config parser, you load the
Mhm.
ini. So you'd have to at least copy those two lines.
These two. These two, you mean these.
No, you
But
need
what
so
if
you need
you
config parser, and then you have to do read config default ini,
right.
and that actually now has to be the path to the default in PufferLib, where I'm going to handle that path, like the global
Oh, and
path for
and
you
and, and
otherwise.
this path, so this is the default,
Hmm.
right? And you're saying here
That's your
this is
path.
the path of the default config? No,
No,
right?
no, that's the default path, and then path is your config's path.
Yes. So what if you just um I guess you're trying to iterate over each
So I do
um
it for you. I like
right.
basically. So right now, you can copy those two lines, 1 and 2.
Yeah, these two.
Okay, so you can copy those two lines, and you can put those in your main function.
Yeah, so in here kind of thing. Have them, I guess,
Well,
but it'll be
that's
like yeah, oh,
no,
no.
it's got to be in the function, right?
Yeah.
It's too much.
Well,
That's not go. That can't
yeah.
go in args.
Yeah, right now something like this,
Okay.
but basically what I'm saying is well, what you can do is instead of doing this, right? Since you're doing all of this here, what if you this path, right? It's just a string, right?
Well,
This is just a
then my main
no.
function, no, because you took my loading logic out, right?
What I'm saying
You
is
took my
what if
loading
you
logic
replace
out.
this with config path? Does that make sense? No?
Main of args. Hang on,
Where
which
was
function is
I?
this?
Wow, where am I? Oh, okay. I need to go back to main. Main. Here we
Main
go.
of args.
Uh,
Okay, so
is it
here
here? Oh, no, I think I was
you
looking
took
I
it
wanted
out.
to look
Yeah,
at
it's because
this one,
it's a
this one. Yeah,
CLI
this
main.
one, this one. Yeah, yeah, this one. So what I was saying is what if you make this path into config path like
But
that?
now you're calling. But now you're no longer calling my. You're calling CLI main, not main.
No, no, no. What I'm saying is main passes that to well,
CLI main
oh,
calls
well,
main.
I see. So we'll have to put um
So you wanted to
okay.
call main, not CLI main. So CLI main has my extra
Hmm.
loading. So what I'm saying here, right,
Yes.
is you're like, oh, then I can just pass my path. I'm like, no, 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 you can't just pass the path because the loading happened before that,
Right.
right? And
Yes.
like the
Okay. Yeah,
reason it
yeah, yeah.
happened
You're
before
right.
that, and
You're
the reason that
right.
you
You're
wanted to get
right.
rid of it is because it's complicated.
Good point.
So
Let me
like,
think.
yeah.
So yeah, that I get what you're saying. This is kind of difficult, but I guess what I would compromise on is to kind of have um okay, so I see. So you're doing that stuff. Okay. Right, and then you're extracting here. Oh, okay. I see. So what if you have hmm,
And this doesn't even have validation, by the way, which I really wish we had config validation, but we don't.
right,
So like, if you typo an
right.
arg right now, you're screwed.
Yes. Yes. Um okay, so what kind of I was thinking is so, well, I think I just copied it. I don't think I like removed um this stuff from CLI main. But besides that point, what okay, so what I would kind of want from main then would be basically um this I go and I main. Where's main? Here we go. So I want that with all this stuff and then um
Well,
so
then I literally can't.
you
Then
see how this
you kill my
stuff
CLI demo. Then right?
right, that's what that's where that's where you know how you have then I think what's you gotta do is Right, the CLI demo allows you to change stuff from the config. Right, god damn it, you're right. Okay, yeah. Okay, yes. Okay, let me think here. I see.
So it's like I see
Yeah, this is
it's so tough
hard.
because like I see you're trying to simplify things, right?
Yes.
I see the way that in which you're trying to simplify things, but
Right.
it's like I've literally spent so long on this, and it's like it's been so simplified that basically everything you're doing is stuff like I've tried at some point, and then I've realized that it
Mm-hmm.
actually creates more complexity because now I have to like handle it two ways instead of one.
I see. Because you know what this sounds like? This sounds very similar to the problem with having stuff like PyTorch Lightning or Keras. You have this kind of main training function or whatever that
Hmm.
does everything, and then when you want to do something a little bit different, you know, you kind of you just
Yeah,
it just becomes
you
so
can't.
what I think would
But
be
like the cool
yes.
thing with this is at least the way that you're supposed to be able to do that is you can actually edit the script because you have one file and it's relatively short
Mhm.
instead of having 500 files that don't make any sense.
So what I think and different approach to this would be is, you know how I kind of approached the thing where I had, basically I was like, you know what, I just want one function to call, and it just does my thing here like this, right?
Hmm.
What if you have instead of a function like this, you have um, kind of like you functionize the argument parsing and the config parsing, if that makes sense. So like um, you know how here you have all the argument parsing.
So you want like a
So
load
this is
config function.
yeah, kind of like a load
Okay, I can
config
do that. And
function.
then let's see how short that can get. So let's say I give you load config, which will load from a
Right.
file, and optionally, if you take arguments, it will also be able to be overridden from command line.
Yeah.
I can do
So
that for you.
so what? Let's say you had let's say this okay, so how about instead of config like this? So I think what's really missing right now is having one unified kind of, well, I guess you do have it. It's called args. So if we look at args, um, this args, right? This is kind of the unified arguments that all the arguments that are needed, right? So what I think is if you can make it so that you can
I can give you that,
basically
like that thing right there, that args that gets
this
loaded.
args,
I
yeah.
can make that a function that loads that for you, either from a config or like that's fine. So that's just taking the first like 50 lines of my main function or whatever and separating it
Yeah.
out. So I can do that just fine. But then the problem is there's still not really any good way to make like a really easy short demo out of this stuff. Um, because like of all the dynamic stuff below it. So like technically, I guess
Yes.
for any one env, like yeah, I could probably make it for you so that your main file looks like, load config, and then it probably
Yeah.
looks
I'll
like,
be like,
instantiating
it'll
your
be like,
policy, and then it looks like a vecenv make or whatever. Um and then it looks like, instantiate clean PufferL and call like I can probably get it to look like that.
I don't know, something like this. Like that's what you're talking about, right?
Well, you
Something
don't
like
even
this
need
where you
main at
have
that point. You don't have to call main, right?
yeah. You
So
just have
let's like say
load
let's get rid of
config.
that.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah. You don't need.
let's say that you just like let's say that you have
You have this,
you
right?
want your own env or my env.
Let's say you wanna. Yeah. Let's say you have your kind of you have your own custom environment.
Can I type
You
a
want to
little bit?
use the yeah, sure.
Let me show you. Do you have the stream up?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna type. You keep the stream muted, but just take a look at what I'm
Yep.
typing,
That's what I'm
and
doing.
let me just ban this frickin' bot. I make the bots here. No more Twitch bots. All right, and so this is what I can do for you, right? So like
Mm,
all right, so we do like import from
yeah.
PufferLib, import
Mhm.
PufferL. Okay, and
Yes.
then like what do you want? Do you
or
want
like
your environment or my environment?
pufferlib.pufferl import star or something like that. So yeah, let's have I guess or yeah, we can have like, let's say
Do you want your
as a
environment or my
user,
environment?
yeah, let's say I want my like my own custom environment that is but you know what, for simplicity probably it'll be simpler to have your kind of already built-in environment. So let's go with PufferLib environment and PufferLib policy.
Okay,
I just want to
great.
train a PufferLib environment with PufferLib policy.
So we do this, and then we do PufferLib import ocean. Okay. So in that case, then we'll do like env creator. We'll ocean dot what do I creator
Yeah.
like breakout or something.
Yeah, something like
Okay,
that.
and then
say.
we do let's say args equals PufferL like load config
Yeah.
config dot ini.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
And then we do, let's see, so we do policy equals PufferLib dot, do we want models port? I think you have to import it.
Yeah, let's just do hypothetical, for example. Like, it doesn't have to run right now, but like,
yeah.
Models, sure.
And then it's probably like, now this is a little like a bit
LSTM
annoying.
or something like that, right?
It has to take the env by default, so we have to do like vecenv.
Okay.
So this is going to be like PufferLib dot vec, and now you have to import this. Usually I just do it this way.
Right. Yeah.
And then you give it env creator, and then like args, like num ems, etc.
Yes.
Okay, but now like, do you want like a custom backend, or do we want to just, because we could technically do like num ems equals 4, and then we could do backend equals PufferLib dot vector dot multiprocessing. Okay.
Right.
So it doesn't have to take your M, so we can just ignore the stuff that's in the ini and just use.
Yeah.
Okay. So here, this gives you
wait. Okay. So where am I using my config then? Okay, I guess
this is what I'm showing you. Is like I'm trying to see if this is still good, because you're gonna see like the places where stuff is still a little screwy. Because
what
now
I think would be
env dot, I think like driver env or whatever, because it needs an env to like infer your model space, and then I can do like hidden size equal 128, whatever else, and then let's say I want an LSTM, so we do LSTM policy equals PufferLib dot models dot LSTM wrapper driver env like policy, something like this.
Right. Okay, so I kind of have an idea for the args, like the load config kind of dynamic with the vecenv. So you know how you have like the load config takes in your config path, like your string config path?
Well, I can do, if you're thinking of like, I can do star args of like vector or something. Is that good?
What do you mean by that? Oh, so like
I can do this, but there's a problem. This is going to be a string in the config, which is what the dynamic imports are for.
Yes, right.
You see like how I run into that?
And your load config is what checks and loads the config and makes it typed and make it, or
some of it is, but then some of it's underneath it. So like I can do this. You have your policy now, and then I can do like, I hate the abstraction of trainers so damn much, but I guess that's what it is.
No, you don't have to. You can just, can't you just for loop it?
Well, it has to have state. and it's probably something like this, right?
Hmm.
Okay, and then I can
Okay.
do and I do actually have a for loop, which is one thing I do like in range
Yeah.
args, or I think it's like while trainer not trainer, something like this, or
Hmm.
whatever, or it's like, yeah, there's something. I think it's more like while trainer dot global step less than args, like total train steps. Like there's something like this, and then you do trainer dot evaluate, trainer dot train, blah blah blah. Like I can do something like this. This doesn't tell you much because these functions are freaking hiding everything.
Right. Right. Um. So what I was okay, but this is I think like, at least for me as a beginner, going to a library. Um. hmm,
This
I
like
mean, I
hides
like
everything anyways,
no,
right?
what I like is I think PyTorch got it like the best in my opinion, where they got the right level of abstraction.
Yeah,
Like
and
you
you
can still see,
yes,
you know what I mean? Like you can, yeah,
I
okay.
agree. No,
So,
I agree with you. And the thing is, anything higher level than PyTorch is
mhm.
garbage, which is why PyTorch Lightning sucks and Kara sucks. Like these are both
Yeah.
these are both libraries for dumb industry hacks. Like,
Yes, and that's
but the
we
thing
want to
is,
be the PyTorch, you know?
yeah, I know, but the thing that's tough here, right, is like the stuff that's in RL is not the same as you building your
Yes.
train loop, right?
Right.
Because if you look at the stuff that we have to do in reinforcement learning compared
Mhm.
to like everywhere else,
Mhm.
this is why I have it in a file, right?
Yeah,
So
are you
it's
talking
like
about like sweeps?
not even that. Like we have that. All right, let's just look at the stuff in here, like the amount of crap that I have to set. So
Mhm.
first of all, there's some backends where if you don't set these, you magically lose performance.
Right.
There's reproducibility stuff. Now we need an interactive environment. This is not like a load data set. This is an interactive and asynchronous environment.
Mhm.
Um, we have a big statically allocated buffer with a ton of different things in it. Okay, this is your experience buffer,
Mhm.
right? Normally
Yeah.
everything has a big class for this thing as well. So we just have this. We have,
Right.
you need LSTM state if you want to use an LSTM. That also needs to be pre-allocated or else it's slow.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, for I see for optimization and stuff like that,
yeah.
you need to, yeah.
And so like there's also now there's like all this mini batching stuff in calcs because we have calcs.
Right.
The mini batch size is actually and the batch sizes are based on the number of environments you have and like this rollout length. It's not like in
Yeah.
supervised learning. All right, now we've got torch compile. This actually can go
Mhm.
away because we're gonna probably just end up dropping Atom because Muon's just better. But now we have fancy optimizer. That's fine. We have learning rate scheduler. All right, so we have to do our
Oh,
learning rate scheduler. We have automatic mix precision. We have
right.
logging, and
Mhm.
then we have this monitoring
Okay, so
dashboard.
this I feel like this logging kind of okay, so okay, I like everything I see kind of besides the logging because it's like platform specific. It would be cool if you can just pass in a logging module
Hmm.
and you know what I mean, like a
Yeah.
logging class with specific methods or something
Well, I don't
like
like
that
callbacks in
implements,
general. I think callbacks is really
okay.
shit design. But like, let's say instead of giving you callbacks, like after you call evaluate, you can add your own logging. That's fine. The thing is, our logging is really freaking good. Um,
Yes.
like
Well,
the dashboard in
right.
particular, the dashboard. This I added. Let's see how much code this is. So this function here is like 100 something lines of code, right?
So yeah.
This gives you when you train. So if I just do PufferL, if I just even call this with default args,
Mhm.
this does this for you. And you get
Yes.
your
And
metrics
that
here, and any env you
that's
call will
good.
have your
Yes.
metrics. Like anything that's in infos,
Yes.
you'll have your metrics.
Mhm.
And this is
Right.
kind of like
And
a
I'm not,
major selling
you know,
point of Puffer as well, because like
yes.
this thing gives you so much more visibility than like
Right.
basically everything else out there in RL.
Mhm.
So like I could take it out, I could
So
not make it the default, but then you're gonna suffer.
that's not logging I'm talking about. I'm more talking about the experiment tracking, like the Neptune
So
and the
Neptune I can take out.
weights
Yes,
and biases.
Neptune I can technically take out, and I've been playing with doing that. So in that
So
case, what it would be is it would go here. So I have this experiment. So this is kind of like the code you wanted to write over Puffer. I could put it here.
experiment. So okay, where so go back to the Neptune and weights and biases kind of code, where you kind of log to them. Yeah, so you see here you have like if Neptune, if elif weights and biases. What if instead of having that, you basically get a experiment tracker class or like backend that you can literally get in the function that is a class that implements specific functions. Is I guess
I
that's
think that's
it's not
too high level.
yeah. Okay.
I'm good with taking it out of here. So I'm good with taking it out. Like that could be potentially fine, I think. But then what I
Mhm.
would do is I would just paste this into experiments.
I see. And when does experiments get called?
It just gets called from main. So
Can I
like
see
honestly,
where?
experiment, like you wouldn't even call experiment. Like you would just write this code. Like I would put this code into your demo, right? So if I just do this,
Hmm.
like this would be your demo. Something like this.
Okay, let me see. Ah, okay, this is actually really nice. Yes.
This is
Yes,
substantially better.
exactly. And move the all the like because what I kind of am worried about with like Neptune or
Mhm.
weights and biases is a person who wants to log their experiment and they don't want to pay for weights and biases or for whatever kind of thing, or they're for,
They
let's say
both have
example,
free
for
accounts, but yes.
yeah, for let's say for their work situation, or they're in a research lab that for some reason uses MLflow, um, and they want to use MLflow.
Yeah,
Being
you can
able
bring
to
your own.
kind of
That's
be
chill. That's easy for me to
yes,
do. So like I
that's
don't even
I
like I
think
was thinking of doing that anyway. So let's say that we do
okay,
that and then we do like
right,
whatever. You'll just do you know, your logger dot log stats. And that'll go
yeah,
like
yeah,
here,
yeah,
right? Okay.
yes,
So I do this.
exactly.
That's fine. Okay, I'm chill with that. And then like you don't need to import experiment. Now, do you care that these two things are also ridiculously high level?
Which one?
Eval and train.
Puffer. Mm,
Because I don't know how to make it any like I don't know how to go lower level than this. This is extremely high level, but I don't know how to go any lower
right.
level than this because of all the stuff we have to do. And like honestly, if I let you do this yourself, you'll do it slow.
Ah, okay, I see what you mean.
Like so here, def eval.
Okay,
Look at look what's
I
in
think,
eval.
yeah.
All right, so eval. First of all of our stats that we collect from profiling,
Right.
they come from these profiling macros here.
Okay.
It
Macros?
kind of
Is this C
macros.
macros?
Not exactly. But they're kind of funky in the sense that they set this like they set the state of the profiler to eval, and then until you
Mm-hmm.
change the state, they like continue to log.
Ah,
It's
just like a state machine?
yeah. The reason that we do it this way is because before, let me show you how it looked in 2.0. I think about every single one of these things. Like I really, really
Yeah.
try to. Um.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So like, look how gross this code was. With eval misc, with eval forward. So everything is indented under like
Oh, yep,
you
yep,
see.
yep. Under the context thing. Yeah,
So
yeah.
now
The
what we
Python
have
context thing.
is you just switch the profiler whenever you want it,
Yes.
and like it's
Okay.
no longer does that.
Yeah, no longer insanely indented. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
and but
Okay.
we still have
Cool.
this
Um.
crap because with statements like
Yeah. Yeah.
PyTorch.
Yeah. With like PyTorch, it has the context
Yeah.
handling
So we
context.
do
Yeah.
this.
Uh,
I
yeah.
probably can. I might be able to even clean up a little bit of this. We'll see. But yeah, we have this,
Okay. Yeah.
and then like
So. Yeah.
like
I think.
this is all the stuff.
Yeah.
Like this is the full
Right.
eval, but like I don't know what lower level I would give you here.
Yes, right. And I think that's the thing though. I think the problem you're running to is kind of a similar problem that the PyTorch people are kind of running into, and their solution I think was compile, if that makes sense. Because
which
what they
doesn't work for
notice is
us.
yes, what they notice is they want to allow people the freedom to create their own training loops, their own tensor operation, like custom tensor operations, but a lot of times people write slow code. So what do they decide to do? They're like, "Oh, let's write a compiler that takes that slow code and makes it faster," right? That's kind of their approach. Your approach is let us handle it. Like
Well,
you
because
you
compile
kind
doesn't
of
work. Like it
upfront.
doesn't even make it
Yes.
fast for us.
Yes.
Like it's
Yes.
the level of perf optimization we need to do is much higher than what the vast majority of ML people need to do
Yes.
because our networks are small.
Yes, and I'm not, again, I'm not saying this is something that
Mm-hmm.
PufferLib does bad. I'm just observing how, like, I'm just giving an observation of
Mm-hmm.
how PyTorch handled basically a very similar issue here. And I think it's okay. I think what you're doing is okay, where you abstract this thing, but I think it'll be good. So go back to that kind of simple example. Uh, like
Yeah.
that simple example you had, the example.py or whatever. Uh, you had, yeah. What I think you should do is like, for example, like kind of explain like we give this kind of higher level evaluate and train API because of a lot of performance optimizations we do for you, kind of thing. Like a little comment
It's
for
just
each of them.
it's annoying because like this thing here, I don't like that this takes away your access to the environment.
Right.
Right? Like
It
in
takes
my
away your
mind,
control. Yeah.
you should have access to the environment, which is the stepping
Yes.
here. But the thing is, the main point of this file, if you want to do stuff with it, it isn't for you to call this function. It's to copy this freaking script and edit it.
Mhm. I see.
Because
Um.
I can't, if I give you access to this function, if I
Mhm.
give you access to here, if I give you access to m stepping, which is the
Right.
receive function, and the send function. First of all, do you know how obnoxious it is to get this loop right? You have to call receive at the
Yes.
start, and then you have to call send at the bottom.
Where's send?
At the bottom. Here.
Let's see. Yes, okay.
Okay.
And receive is receiving rewards and send or observations, and sends an action kind of
Yes.
it. Yeah, okay.
Okay, and
Okay.
then
Yeah.
but look at all the stuff that there is in the middle
Yes.
of this.
Yeah. So right here I see basically this is the PyTorch level of PufferLib, right?
Yes. So this is the code that you're intended to see.
Yes.
And like the
Yes.
thing is,
So
when you go back to here,
mhm,
when you go to here, it's like, yeah, you've abstracted it too much. This isn't the level you're supposed to be at, though. Like you're
right.
supposed to be here, which is why I was just providing this damn thing as a script.
Okay, I get that point. But first of all, I want to send a quick observation. So, so the PyTorch thing to do here would be to go to the top of the function and have the at compile, like you know what I mean, like that. Um,
So
basically,
let
like
people write the function
yeah,
and then compile it. But the
yeah,
thing
yeah,
is,
and
it
then
won't
like put
work.
like an at compile, like make a wrapper, like an at compile wrapper where people kind of have like a very basic for loop, and you kind of meta program all the complication into it. That would probably be the PyTorch way to do it. But
It doesn't
I
work though.
think yes, exactly. It doesn't work currently. Like you see, like they have a full team of like geniuses on it, and they still are struggling with it.
Like
Um,
we try compile. Like in most cases, compile makes most of our training slower. I'm not even joking. And like honestly, like there are all these RL people. They're like, oh yeah, we got like 6x speed up with compile. Yeah, because you started at 1,000 steps per second. Because your initial starting code was terrible, right?
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but that's the thing. So yes, I agree with you that as a, let's say, as like a serious RL developer or researcher or engineer, whatever you want to call it, it will go and use and basically copy the evaluate function and use it, right? And like modify it to their own, right?
Yeah, like what you would do is like the thing is
Yes.
if you're actively a researcher, the
Right.
intent is still that you clone the repo and you mess with stuff. Like I think that the thing is that like if you want to contribute an env though, for instance,
Mhm.
you can totally just like use the PufferL script. But then like my question is if I give you this, like if I give you this versus if I give you PufferL, what are you learning?
So from this, okay, so
Because
what I
all the
think,
logic is hidden from you still, right? Like all the
yes, but I
everything in
think the
PufferL is still gone.
structure, but I think the structure is still there, and what you can do is, so the main kind of validations of abstraction I see here is the evaluate and train, right? Those are like the
Um,
main kind of you can say like
well, our vectorization is a
over
pretty big one.
abstracted. Yeah,
But
yeah, that's
that's not
another one.
overly abstracted. That's just freaking
Yeah,
hard.
but that's not overly exactly. So what I think is, again, this is not when you give someone a PyTorch notebook of like a um of like a simple kind of like, I don't know, like a MLP, right? You don't expect them to use that to develop the machine learning and take it further, right? You
Yeah,
don't
but like
expect
this
them
is
to.
what we're providing in some sense, is like this working loop.
So yeah. So what I'm saying is the kind of the point of bringing that example is kind of like a very brief introduction of how the PufferLib code is structured, in the sense of like we first get the arguments, then we train it on these arguments, and we log it, then we do this, right? So like you have here, if you take a look, you see how you have the structure of we're creating an environment with env creator, then we're getting args, then we're vectorizing those environments, then we're initializing the policy, um, then like you have the structure. So kind of my point with like the initial kind of um, thing for PufferLib is the structure. You want the user to first just understand the structure, and then once they kind of understand this, you kind of try to encourage them, or kind of like, let's say in the next example, you then say, okay, here are the evaluate and train. This is like how you actually make, like how you actually use the
So do you
library
want
in
people not?
production.
Do you
You
want
know what
just
I mean?
people to read this, or do you want people to actually use this?
I want people to read and experiment with this to get started, not to use this in production.
Okay, so
Like
like,
in, yeah. Does that make sense?
I'm trying to think where and how I do this, because like, I don't hate the suggestion of take Neptune out, and I don't hate the suggestion of like take the some of the like the config loading stuff out. That's fine. There's
And
so
I
much.
do agree with you though, but that like I would love to have a um un hidden, like unhidden
Well,
evaluate
you
and
do
train.
like the unhidden is
Hmm.
this code.
Yeah, it's
Like
the
the thing is,
evaluate and train. Yeah,
it's genuinely it's this full file, and like the thing
right.
is, you see 1,000 line file, and you go, oh, how do I like how do I simplify this? But this 1,000 line file does what normally you would need 20,000 lines for,
Right.
right?
Yes. But
So I
mhm.
guess it's not everything. Like, what am I hiding from you here? So technically, you don't have sweeps in here. So this is
Yes.
another file. This is a relatively short file. Actually, we're gonna cut like 150 lines of code off of this before release,
Oh,
at least. It'll be sub 500 lines. Okay,
okay.
and
Interesting.
like this will be so you'll get to see this, and you have like 100-ish lines of code here, and this is pretty much the algorithm. It's
Right.
all math,
Well,
right? And then
yes.
I'm hiding from you, I guess, our default model, but it's really just a PyTorch model. Like we have this little tiny thing that we do with encode decode to make LSTMs easier, but other than that, it's really just like a basic ass PyTorch model.
Right.
And then like I'm not really hiding anything else. Like that's genuinely all the code.
Right. And I agree, but I think so. I agree that this code is perfectly good to kind of to serve as an example for a user who wants to use this for research or for whatever else or like industry tasks, right?
Yeah,
I
I
agree
think
with
for
that.
like a researcher, like this, if I'm a researcher, this is what I want to be handed, right? So I guess it's like,
So at least for me, well, that's the thing. I'm not really a researcher, so I'm coming from the perspective of like a software engineer or
so
someone who like created our ML stuff and RL stuff like from scratch, like some simple things. But then when I get handed that, my first problem is not the implementation details; it's the structure. I don't know what gets called before what, and like
so
this structure of what gets called, and that's kind
okay.
of the main thing that that
So
example the
then
pie kind of shows me,
help me
if that makes sense.
understand. Then help me understand this, right? So
Mhm.
like you have something that's very similar to this. If I just remove the argument parsing,
Yes.
so if I
Yeah.
just go to like PufferLib, clean PufferL, and I go to like, let's say that this function starts. This function starts here. Okay. So you see you have the env creator, you have the policy class. There's still a little bit of fluff here, right? Not that
Yes.
much.
Yeah.
And then you have sweep code.
Where's sweep code? Oh yeah, I see.
It's a
Sweep
little
sweep
gross now
class.
because this args is not my syntax highlighting is not picking this up. But you
Yeah.
have this is your sweep stuff, and you have like where's train? Train just calls experiment. I guess this code would be
You see, you have like a lot of like if train, if sweep,
well,
if
what would you want
eval,
it to
if
look like?
this. I would want it to have just an example that just trains. It doesn't check if I'm gonna be training or I'm gonna be eval. I just want to train something. What is the order of functions I'm calling to make that happen? So what do I call first? Then what do I call? Like, because before doing
Does it
this, I'll be like,
suffice? So I guess
you know what I mean?
technically the only reason I can't put train at the top is because I want to be able to load default policies in. I guess the
Kind
the
of.
one question I have is like, so like
Mhm.
if you're trying to do this to like, if you're trying to use this to learn stuff or to like get your env working, and you want
Mhm.
the high level interface is like this, right? So like
Yes.
torch.py or here. So
Mhm.
let's call this is like torch.py, and then this is like
Right.
from puffer lib.models
Yeah.
import default as policy, or if you want, you can do class my policy like nn.module,
Right.
whatever super self.mlp, dot whatever it is. So you make
Mhm.
like your little
Yes.
net,
Yeah.
and then like you
Yeah.
have like your env.py, and you do. So this is your thing that you're making. Now you do like
Yeah.
class my env, and this is like pufferlib.pufferenv, and then definite like, and you do your stuff here, and then I can also give you like config.ini, and you do like this yada yada, and then pufferl uh env, like my env, like you could do this. I could give you this interface as a newcomer.
So you have upper. Okay.
I could
And
just give you this, so
I
this is all you need. So you just write your net, you write your env, and you write a config, and you call pufferl, and then you don't have to deal with this file at all. I could do that.
well, what? Okay. So I guess maybe it's better to explain like the problem I was having when I first kind of started.
Mm-hmm.
And it was mostly and kind of like let you maybe like problem solve it yourself. But my first problem was how things are kind of structured in the sense of like what what comes after the other. So like, um, does that make sense? Kind of like, what's
Yeah,
kind of
that's
the
the problem I have.
execution graph?
That's the
Like,
problem I have with
how you,
every freaking code base. I've seen some really, really nasty ones,
yeah,
for sure.
like,
And like, there's a
like,
little bit of
mm,
branching in Puffer, which is why like, I guess even the experiment function is slightly annoying. I have that there because I reuse it with sweeps. Um,
mhm,
I think that's the only
yeah,
thing that gets called though. I think it goes if train experiment, which then makes clean PufferL and like does this code.
mhm.
Um,
Well, yeah, kind of. I guess what I'm saying is like the first thing that would really help, at least for me as a newcomer, as like
hmm.
a newcomer to like PufferLib, was um
Do
if
you
I
care
had
about the
something
structure?
like, well, well, I care about what gets called after what, because then I can go into the puffer like RL file and be like, okay, like I kind of have a mental model of like, okay, this is the function that gets called after this one, and it messes with this data.
So
This function then gets, does that make sense?
is
Kind
this
of
for the
like
purpose of getting your M to work, or is this for the purpose of like trying to understand how the RL code is working?
how,
Because those are
okay,
two
so
different
right now
objectives,
is like,
right?
yes,
Because
so
like if you
it's,
just want your M to work, if you just want your M to work, I give you this.
yes,
You don't have to open clean PufferL at all,
right.
and your end will work, right?
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking
Okay.
about understand. I'm talking about kind of like as a so as a step to
Yes.
reading clean or like PufferL, right? That's kind
Yeah.
of what I'm
So the thing,
saying
okay,
is,
so
yeah.
so basically it's just as hard as I have worked to make this thing simpler, it just ain't simple enough yet. So like,
No,
okay,
no,
no, no,
it's
no,
simple.
that's fair, and like I could make, like I could probably restructure here. Let's actually let me. This will be useful. If I give you this, have you read CleanRL?
Not much.
Okay, so this is the gold standard for simple RL. Like Costa is like
Yes.
my pick for goat of like the goat of reinforcement learning. He is awesome.
Okay.
So this is PPO on
Right.
Atari,
And
286 lines.
mhm.
He does
Yes.
use, these are just wrappers. These are just reward wrappers. So
Right.
there's no other dependencies. No,
Right.
this is just torch. There's no like other
Right.
fancy things in CleanRL. It's a single file.
Yeah.
Arguments?
Yeah. That looks nice. Yeah.
Yes.
That looks good.
Make env, all hard coded in one file.
Mhm.
Okay. Here's your agent.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
This is yes.
This is what you want, right?
Let me see the args. Oh, those are like kind of arg parse wrapper. You can say, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. And you have the main
Got
function,
1B?
and then yeah, yeah, this is kind of what I want. Not because
Well,
well,
this is
yeah,
what
this is
everyone
kind of
wants. This is what you want because
yeah.
this is fantastic code. Costa writes amazing stuff. So, and this is the train loop right here.
Mhm.
He's
Yeah,
got he
but
has
it's
actually a
low.
lot of the features. He's got annealing learning rate, right? He's got everything here. Okay, and then he
Then
even
again,
has
it's
he's got
slow.
generalized advantage estimation in here. He's got the
Yeah.
whole train loop. It's almost what we have.
Mhm.
We actually this code is copied in our PufferLib is copied directly from him. So like this, he
Okay.
has a lot of it here. But here's the thing that gets tough, right? So first of all, you cannot use this code to evaluate your policy. This is a combined train and eval loop. Okay?
Ah.
So as soon as you split that apart, as soon as you split those two things apart, now you need to share the entire global state of this program between two separate functions. Okay? So then that's why there's a class clean PufferL. It's because you have to go back
Mhm.
and forth between train and eval. There are some other reasons, but that's the biggest one. Okay? So then and then on top of that, so this doesn't have sweep integration at all. Sweeps is not that hard. It's just like it's a for loop that has to run on top of your code, which is another
Mhm.
reason you can't just have everything as globals. Um,
Mhm.
and then this has Gymnasium synchronous vector env, which makes the data storage format a fair bit simpler than ours is, at the price of it being way slower.
Yes.
Okay. And when I say synchronous, like even gym vector async vector env, it's not asynchronous in the way that our envs are. Like it's different. Okay.
Huh.
So we get that. Now he goes through these evals. Um, he is not doing any sort of performance profiling on any of this. So you're missing
Right.
all of
No
that.
logging.
Yeah, there's no logging here. There is logging of like losses, but this is
Mm-hmm.
not like sufficient, right?
Right.
So we have to do that for sure. We have
Yeah,
profiling
those
code
are some
of,
loggings. Yeah.
yeah, so we have profiling of like your hardware utilization first of all, and then we also
Yeah.
have profiling of all the M stats, and we also have our local dashboard printout, so you're not locked to WANB for all your visualizations. You
Mm-hmm.
actually get them in your term.
Exactly.
Okay, so we have that.
Yeah.
We support AMP, we support compile, we support distributed training. We have all of those. Okay,
Well, okay.
so we have all that. We also are, the way that we run our mini batching is not the same as CleanRL does because we have advantage filtering. Okay, we have gradient accumulation. We have all these additional features, right?
Right.
Okay, and then the big one, right, is the fact that like from the CLI, you get to choose. You can run training, you can run sweeps, you can run eval,
Mm-hmm.
right? You have a bunch of different options of things that you can run. And also, we don't have a single env hard coded like this. You can run from the command line any env in PufferLib. You
Right.
can load whatever config file for that specific env, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like
Exactly.
what we did here, my goal here, and everyone tries to do this and fails because Cost is just a genius, and it's like as soon as you try to do CleanRL, but like CleanRL but more features, everyone hard falls on their face, and I've just done my best, right? So like
Yeah.
what I try to do is keep it as damn simple as I possibly can while making it fast and
Yeah.
having like the minimal set of features that you would want to be able to do research.
Yes. The thing is, like yours, my problem is not that PufferRL file, like the PufferRL script, is not simple enough in terms of the core logic. My problem is that it has a lot of the fluff that this doesn't have. That's kind of the main difference I see between this PPO Atari and the PufferRL. This is all hard coded,
Yeah,
right? Um,
it's all hard coded.
y- yeah, and yours is all dynamic, which then takes away from like it kind of, you can think of it as like it that complexity takes the stage away from the actual meat of what PufferLib does,
Yep.
which is not argument parsing, not fancy config evaluations. It's good performant reinforcement learning.
Yeah. And now the issue is that as if I hard code it, you can't use the thing because like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
our pipeline, right? Like our research loop is not
Hmm.
we just run one environment for a month, right? Like the
Hmm.
research loop is we use multiple environments with multiple different policies and we run experiments, hundreds of experiments on these to
Right.
make sure that what we're doing is actually sensible. So like if I hard code it, it's like immediately useless, which is
Well,
tough.
what I'm saying is that hard coded is not, that hard coded version of Puffer RL is not meant to be used for actual good experiments. It's meant for documentation so people can, when they start out, can read it and not be like and not follow a bunch of like fancy config and argument
So
parsing.
I would cut out.
And like, does
I
that make
could cut. I
sense?
think if I cut everything that's like dynamically done, I think you only cut 100 lines.
And that's fine, at least for me, because
So
um
having a whole separate file that isn't actually useful, but to cut a
well,
hundred lines out
okay.
of 900.
So again, it would be um it would be more like, so it would be more of like a documentation file. It would be like an example.md or something like that. But then again, then you have like a
Let
okay,
me let me do this another way here. Like, so there's
right.
no stuff is
It,
not jank. When you get to clean PufferL, is stuff still jank or is stuff jank in the main function?
it's mostly in the main function.
Okay, so
That's
if
my
I
kind of biggest issue.
okay, so if I just take this main function for you, right? And I give you the version of this where, like I said, I split out all the loading stuff, and then when you're
Mhm.
actually reading this logic, it's not module name import lib, it's just like, env or it's policy or whatever.
Yes,
Does that do it?
that would be, at least for me as like a first time reader, would be way clearer.
Okay.
Um, because then I would be like, because as a reader, I would be like, okay, so it goes. When does it go to if sweep? Okay, I have to look at the arg mode, and then you know what I
So
mean.
then
Like
do you
I
want
want
this
it.
to be, do you want this function to then be shorter? So does this go in a method for you? Do I make a sweep method here and then
So what I'm saying is more like, you know how you have like basically this main handles training, uh like it handles all the different arguments with those like if, else
Mhm.
if, and all that kind of thing. What I want is like, at least for documentation and reading, not as like a
Well, you can still
useful
use it. I can just
thing.
I can split these things out and they don't have to, like, I can split these things out with args. Like I actually had it that way at some point. So,
So okay, well what I mean is, like, you know how clean RL doesn't worry about it being uh like handling all these different like sweep, like it doesn't have if sweep, if train, if eval. It just evals trains, right? Like it does the train loop, and then it
so
does the eval, right, in all
then
one
how
kind
do
of
you
thing.
do
But
those
you,
things?
yeah. Yes, you do. But you kind of have like so you see how you have like if args mode profile, which I'm guessing is for like
Extra, yeah,
performance.
profiling
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. So this kind of stuff, the clean RL doesn't have, which makes it easier to read but less useful, right?
Yeah, like I can give you.
What I want is
So
something, is an example that is not as useful but is easier to read, if that makes
what
sense.
about this? If you look at this code,
Yes, that looks good. That looks uh well, if again, now you have the evaluate and train, right? That would be um I'm guessing those functions above it, you have it.
yeah.
The eval and train. Yeah, that looks, to be honest, if I got something like this and then above it, like you said, like you initialize the um environment, you vectorize it, you
So
get,
you want to see the initializations here as well.
I want to see the environment. Well, oh yeah, you have the backend, right? Yeah, because yeah, I do want to see it because as, let's say, a user, I'll be like, oh, backend is easily created by just, giving it my environment kind of thing. I can kind of create environment and I
I
can
mean,
do
basically
that.
all
That
this
that
comes
help.
all
That's
this comes
helpful.
down to, right, is that the loading and like the dynamic loading logic is confusing,
It's
right?
it's it's not it's not confusing. It's understandable. It's perfectly understandable.
Well, yeah, but
But
it's
as a first time
obnoxious.
reader, it distracts from the
Yeah.
main points of this file.
So like,
And I'm talking from purely reading perspective, not functionality.
so I'm trying to think then what I so like, okay, I could take. It's tough because if you just don't read this, right? If you just don't read here, if you start reading here,
Yeah.
you're good, right? Or maybe
Basically,
not.
yeah.
I
Well,
guess
if
you want this stuff. Hang on. You want this stuff.
Mhm,
Let's say I take all this dynamic stuff and I put
mhm.
this I leave the dynamic stuff in main. I leave the branching stuff in main.
Yes.
And then like let's say I pass args. I pass like anything that had to be done dynamically. Like let's say that I pass you, instead of passing you the vecenv, right? Let's say I pass you args and I pass you the vecenv class. No, that still fucking doesn't work because now it's a dynamic class. God damn it.
So I guess kind of what I'm trying to get at is, you're trying to write something that's as readable as CleanRL,
Mm-hmm.
like the CleanRL PPO, but with more functionality and more
Well, I
and non-related
yes.
RL
So I guess
functionality.
here's the difficult thing, right? If for
Mhm.
documentation purposes I make a version of this that's like just everything hard coded, I have to maintain
Yes.
both of them.
Right. Right.
Do you know how what a
Uh,
pain it is for CleanRL? Look, this is how much stuff
oh
they have
yeah.
to change every time they change, like they change their argument
Yeah.
parsing. These are all the scripts they have to update.
Oh yes. Yes,
right? You
I
see this
agree.
refactor to use Tyro?
Mm-hmm.
So I have to do this every time I change an env, which is like fine.
Yes.
But when you're changing the train scripts themselves, like getting stuff consistent across that train script is way sketchier. Like that's tough. Um, it's really easy to mess stuff up in that.
Mm.
So
Okay.
like, and the thing
Mm.
is, these are actually intended to be used as well. So they don't just maintain these for docs.
Really?
Like these are like
Okay.
you use these. So the idea for researchers, right? If you're a researcher, this is how Clean RL works. You take this
Sure.
file, you copy this file, you paste in
You work
whatever
off it.
your variables and your n, and now you do your
Uh-huh.
research.
Yes. Okay.
Right now, the
Um.
assumption there, right, is that you are not running sweeps. You're using a single environment,
Yeah.
which is frankly a lot of the reason that RL sucks is because that's how people were doing research for a decade.
Mm. Okay. So you know how he kind of has it is he has it as a not as a um CLI tool. He has like a statically set in file tool, if that kind of makes sense.
Well,
Like he allows.
this also gives you CLI, I believe, because Tyro does that for
Does
you.
it?
I believe Tyro does that for you. It's the same as ArgParse. I didn't want to use Tyro because it's just an external dep, right? ArgParse is built in.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Um.
There are a
But
million
then
of
he
these
doesn't
stupid
have that.
libraries.
Does he have config files?
No, he has this because these are all of
Okay.
his arguments. He doesn't have
You
sweeps,
know.
and he has like a quarter of our number of arguments.
Uh-huh. Now that I think about it, why have both arguments and a config file?
Yeah, so that's what I was saying is that I could, if it was easier, I could put all these into a config file. Now it's a little bit silly because then it's like, I have hard coded like my project, I guess, in a con file and stuff. Like I guess it's fine. I guess I can do that.
I think it will be well, I think it'll be cleaner to read as well. Like I think it'll be much cleaner to read.
Okay. So I
'Cause-
can take all of these. The only thing is there's like the one other thing that argparse gives you like these choices things. So like this will tell you
yeah,
invalid choice or whatever if I give you
right,
this.
right.
So like I could take out, but here I could take out
Oh,
realistically
right. But then
everything
mm,
except
but
what
then
if let's say
oh,
I
so
take
you
out everything that doesn't have choices. So I give you render mode and I give you like mode. So I give you these and then everything else I take out, or I could just manually validate. Either way.
so you know what you I think what taking all basically putting all the arg parse arguments into the config file will also do
Hmm?
is it'll allow you to abstract away the config reading like basically reading and parsing all out of the main function. Right now it's tied to it,
Well, I could put
but
this in
I
a
think
separate function. I can so this code right from here down to here, I can just take all this and put it in a separate function.
um, right,
It
but it'll
doesn't have to
still
be in
be
main. But the
yes.
thing is, let's say I take all these arguments out, okay? You still
But
have this code.
yes,
You will still have all this code.
yes, that I think is fine because if you let's say here look at my screen, um, it'll be like you still have that code, but let's say um, I for example um, wanted to do kind of my import thing where I have like import example
Hmm?
like from example or let's say import example, and then what I would have is let's say I would do like config and I would do like example dot load config, right, and then I would give my path and then I would have kind of my I would have the example dot main which takes the or this actually would be the args, and that would just take the args. Does that make sense? Kind of, this is the function that abstracts all the kind of dynamic
What does
loading
this do for you?
nastiness away.
When you literally have like a two-line thing, what does this do for
Yeah.
you over the current script?
Well, uh, it for me, so having
Like,
something like this instead of having just dot main like this, where um kind of main is main has everything, it it doesn't do something functional like functionally. It does something it does something in my head where it kind of allows me to kind of have that split of like this is where the actual meat of the code starts, and this, if I want to look at the config stuff, I can jump to this function and look at it, right? I can jump to that example and look at it.
Well, like, there's still a
I get,
bajillion things I have to
yeah,
do to load here, right? Because, like, I need
right,
your env, I need...
yeah, and you have still that like
It's tough,
if
and, like, I also have to make the
this,
CLI tool work.
you have these stuff, right? You have these stuff,
Yeah. So, like,
yeah.
this thing, I can make it...
Mm,
I guess I can give you an interface that works this way, but, like, I'm still also gonna need to have a
yeah,
thing where,
I
like,
get
if
what
you
you're
call
saying.
PufferL, like, let's say you use a CLI, right, and you do, like, PufferL train, it still is gonna have to look... It's gonna have to look in
You
your
have the
current directory
export,
anyways for
you have
configs and for
this.
envs.
Yeah, you have all these like, yeah. Um, so yeah, so okay, so I guess what so let's say we removed all these arc parses. Um, we basically said, you know what, we don't have this, we don't need this, we just have
Well,
like our,
you need the actual initialization of argparse still.
we just need this, we just need this.
What?
No, well,
You need you need you
it's
can
in
delete
it
all
like
the add argument lines.
this one.
Yeah, you can delete
Okay,
all the... So except you deleted the last one
yeah,
as well.
except that one.
So
Oh, oops.
yeah, you
Okay.
can delete all but that. Yeah, okay. So
Yes.
we can have it... we can shorten it to that. Yes.
But my question is, first of all, you need that. Why? Because you then use it here or
Well, then you just can't run anything from CLI otherwise. So like when you do dash dash env, your env name, you just can't do that.
oh right, right. You need it for just having like, let's
Overriding
say
args.
overriding
There needs
args,
to be
right?
something that parses like CLI arguments, like train script arguments.
So you still want to have like a allow write overriding CLI like config arguments with the CLI.
Because literally everyone uses it that way, and like people go crazy if you make
Hmm.
them do everything just in config files.
Okay, I see what you
Because
mean.
then every time you want to change like to train versus eval or like like whatever, like you have to go edit a
Mhm.
mode flag inside of a config file. So
Yeah.
people like having CLI. Now the thing is, some people like lots of CLI flags. Some people will be like dash dash train total time steps equals this dash dash gamma. Like some people will literally
Yeah.
do everything from CLI, and like some people will do most of the stuff in a config file. But like everybody uses at least a little bit of CLI. Like you have to have the
Right.
args. Now I
Mhm.
don't have to have them in
Okay.
here, right? They don't have to be in here necessarily, because all I have to do is I can delete those and then just be like, run dash like dynamic. I can just put a comment: dynamically populated run dash dash help for a full list of arguments.
Oh. Yeah, that's actually cool, but okay. That okay. Um okay. Yeah, that sounds actually good. Um but I guess it still doesn't kind of solve the main kind of problem that we are bouncing between
No, that just
of
deletes
like
20. It just deletes 20 lines of
yeah, it
arguments.
just
That's all it
yeah,
does.
it deletes 21 lines. Yeah, it's yeah, exactly. Um the, so the main difficulty here I see is like having kind of like a simplified static version of this file would would basically add maintenance cost, um, and it will not serve functionally. It will only serve documentarily, if that makes sense. Which means that well, you have to maintain something that is only served um,
That's not useful. I guess
for
it's like you can
documentation.
run.
Yes.
I guess like I can give you. I mean, let me think. Is that even hard? Can I just do it?
What if okay, oh, you know what you can do is instead of having to like okay, I copy this, I copy that, like Like let's say I was like, okay, I'm gonna copy like because what you're gonna do is you're basically gonna take this file and you're gonna remove uh these stuff, right? Like all of these stuff. Um, and then you're gonna remove a lot of the weird importing things and replace them with static imports. Um, and basically
Well, I
you're
don't
just
want
gonna
to.
be changing,
It doesn't make sense to me
right?
to copy the entire file, though, right?
Because you're saying like you want to reuse them so you don't have to maintain
No,
two
it's like,
exactly
but like,
equal functions,
I
right?
I don't see the point in giving. This is a 800 something line file, right? So like, I don't see
A
the
thousand.
if I'm going to give you of actual code,
Right.
it's 800 and something.
Yeah.
So like, if I
Yeah.
give you, it doesn't make a huge difference to me if I give you an 800 line function with some config loading, or an 800 line
Yeah.
function that
Right.
is
Without.
statically coded. Like in terms of complexity, like if you want to understand this file, the complexity difference is not that big. At least I
Right.
could be wrong, like, right? But like in
Right.
my head, it's not that big. The thing that does make sense is if I give you something like this, right, where it's like, okay, I'm importing that file and I'm giving you 50 lines of code,
Yeah.
like that I can jam. And then the question is like, okay, do you want your 3 files that just call the script with? Do you basically want like an experiment?
I like that first one, like where you just have that single file with it is over abstracted, but I think its main point is to show
You just want to see
the
where our main
flow.
API pieces, like, or our main
Yes,
like
I want to see
puffer
the
calls.
flow.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I can
Yeah.
probably do something for that. And then like
Yeah.
honestly, it would be nice if I didn't even have to have this in the repo and I could just put this on the docs page. So like,
Yes, exactly.
and then what you can do is you can copy, I can make it runnable. You can just copy paste and you can run it, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And that gives you a
Yeah.
basic end to end.
Like pip install PufferLib and then take that copy paste, run it, you're good.
Well, we don't want you to think that this is the main interface though, right?
Yes. Yes, but this is like a good kind of like how um
I got to
it's
give you
called like
both, right?
Raylib. Yeah.
I got to
Yeah.
give you this. So I have to give you like PufferL and how you use it from the CLI. Okay,
Yes.
I have to give you this thing where I give you like a little demo like this.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Obviously,
Um,
it'll be more full than this. Like it will be an actually
yeah.
working env, an actually working policy. So this will probably be like I can get this down to like 100 lines, right? So and then I give you 100 lines, and then this is like how you write a sample project, right?
Okay.
And actually, this is
Um,
pretty easy because I can like copy in like squared, or I can copy in like an existing env here. Um, okay, so we can do that, and then let me think. I give you this, that, and then we still have the main cleanRL stuff. But in the process of giving you this file, so in the process of giving you this, I will probably split out or at least change some of the signatures to things. Let me see. Is that true? PufferL, well, this is not real code. Let me see. Let me see what calls what at this point. So experiment takes vecenv, policy, and args. So yeah, I would basically just give you that file that we were like workshopping. So if I give you this like example.py in demo, is this useful? If I
like
just if I give you something like this?
yes, like that. That would be useful. At least when I first saw the library, if I saw that, I'll be like, it'll be easier for me to kind of
Yeah,
understand the whole kind of data flow
yeah.
of PufferLib.
Now I think
Or you know what?
you're still gonna be confused though, because you're gonna paste this in, you're gonna be like, okay,
Mhm.
cool, that works, and then you're gonna open this file and be like, what the hell? Um,
Yeah.
and like to be fair, there are a few reasons that you're gonna be like, what the hell? One of them is just that it's like 900 lines of code, which is like,
Right.
yeah, it's 900 lines, but it does what like normally would take tens of thousands, so that's kind of
Yes.
fine. But then the other thing is like I kind of have all this arg parsing dynamic stuff mixed in.
Right.
So like I guess if I the thing is I hate having tons and tons of like little shitty functions that don't do much.
Yeah. So you know what you can do is just section out all those dynamic-y thing. Just create like a big comment saying like dynamic argument handling, and then people can be like, oh, we can skip that. You know
Well,
what I mean? Like in
I
their
have
brain.
these things here, right? Like I have these sectioned off.
Well, yes, but I think having something that's more like, you know how sometimes a good kind of sectioner of code that I really like is a guy from a community called Handmade. I forgot his name. I think it was like his name was like Fourth Coder or something like that. Four Coder. Let me see. But he um comments his code very nicely. And he uses like he mostly works in C, and he has like long functions, but they're just commented very well. Mr. Fourth, yeah, that's kind of like his thing. Mr. Fourth, yeah. Let me see. I'll show you some like a bit like one C file or something like that. Let's say for coder, it's one of his things he created. Let's look at like has a GitHub. Where's the GitHub? Built-in command documentation. Yeah. Where's the okay performance? Let's see. Okay. For coder, let's say. Okay. Oh, where's the code? Okay, I think it was. Oh, here it is. Git. Yes. Explore. Yeah, let's look, for example, at this one. Okay, no. Oh, this one. Source. Let's look at the C file. So you see, he like, it's a little slow, but he has like comments like this, where this is all of his functions. This is like his tests. Like, and he kind of like sections them like out, like, and that's the thing though, like with your, if you take a look at
That's funny
this
because I really
file,
don't like that comment style.
really,
Yeah.
I don't know. I
It's
I,
like
I
weirdly.
enjoy.
Maybe it's just that it's weirdly like just a comment that just says functions is kind of dumb, right?
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. But what I mean is more
Like what
like you
you have
see
a
how,
comment that says distribution, and then you have a function that's just named distribution under it.
yeah,
It's like
I
what?
agree. It's I guess meant for like all these functions are related to
But
distribution.
they're literally all
Then
prefix distribution.
yeah, exactly.
So like
I agree.
it's kind of like
Yeah,
pick one, right?
yeah, makes sense. I get what you're saying.
Uh,
But I guess hmm,
but I no, I
what
definitely so
yeah,
like I can, but if like ultimately, so like I almost don't think it's enough to just stick a comment there because like the code is there, and it's like you have to deal with
yeah,
like it at some like I could just like split this. The thing is, I sort of thought about it, and it's like, is it worth splitting this? So like now you have like arg main or CLI main or like
yeah.
whatever, right? And then you have another layer of function calls as a result. So if it's worth the other layer, which I guess is what I'm hearing is it kind of is, because like the
Mm.
dynamic stuff is really a pain in the ass to read.
It's not pain in the ass. It just kind of like takes the spotlight. Like not just and I'm not talking about just this. I'm talking about um
Well, there's
you
the
know, like the
dynamic
little
stuff
stuff,
there.
like this stuff, like like even I mean, yeah, that stuff is whatever. Actually, this is not that hard to be honest. I think the kind of things that confuse me at
Oh,
first is stuff
I
like
can give
this, is
you.
stuff like this,
I
is
wonder
stuff
if I
like
can give you.
this. Like what's
Maybe I can.
local rank?
You know what? Maybe I.
You know?
Yeah, that's torch distributed stuff. maybe what I
Like,
can do, I have an idea. I
mhm,
might, no promises. I don't know how hard
mhm,
this
right,
is
right, right,
to do, but
right.
I might be able to do it so that I just have a function that is, I guess train is already taken, but like, yeah, a train function, a sweep function, whatever, not inside of main, and then I just give you entry points to those. But then you can't
Ooh.
call it as a script, which is a little shitty.
Ah.
It's
Yeah,
not
so
that
it's
shitty.
it's mm.
That's kind of
What do you mean you
fine.
can't call it as a script? You
So
can
you wouldn't be able to do like Python, um,
right.
Python
Train, import
clean
train.
PufferL. No, you could do
Yeah,
import train. You could still import, but you wouldn't be able to
right,
call this Python clean. What would you do is you'd have to call PufferL from the command line, which is like
right.
I would be
But
able to get rid of all this logic though.
I think so. Why do you think you wouldn't be able to have train and all that stuff be importable? I
Okay, so
guess
let
because
me show you what I'm thinking here. So
yes,
you know what entry points are, right?
yes,
Okay,
like you know,
so like look, if I do this, let me get some space here. All right, so we can do like def sweep. Now this is the sketchy
mhm,
thing because it has to be like this,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
we do
Well, we
load.
can do like buffer all sweep or something there. You know, like
Okay, so this is
suggestion.
gonna be clean. This is clean pufferl
Yeah,
dot py.
yeah,
Okay.
right.
Okay. So then this is sweep.
Hmm.
Okay. And like all this will be in clean puffer here. There, you know, we give you a
Right.
big block. Yeah, there. Here,
Yeah,
happy. Now this is gonna
yeah,
be
whatever.
you
Yeah.
to call this sweep function. You do this. You do pufferl sweep env my env and like Neptune rain
Uh,
dot gamma.
I see. So instead of having it as another CLI arg, have it as an entry point.
Yeah, so I can do this like vecn
Okay. So
equals
what I
load.
was.
I can do like
Uh-huh.
this, and then I can do like
Ah, yeah, yeah, you can
for
have different entry points,
yeah.
right?
So I can do this,
Okay.
and then I can do like def train, and then this is just like it's gonna have like a very similar block, and then it'll do like this, and then like the thing. It's a little tricky because like you know I have to make some shared things for this, so there still has to be a few other things. But then like I don't need to have. There just wouldn't be a main at all.
If statements.
Like
Yeah, there won't be a
I
main,
guess I
right?
technically could. So I could technically do
Okay.
if name is I could still do like the higher level thing. So I could do like load configs and then or not even this. I could just do like this. If
Right.
I could just do like
Okay.
this. So I guess I could
Yeah.
technically oops.
I really like this actually. I really like this suggestion.
So I could just do that.
It sounds you know what I think would be cool. So yeah, since do you know how you know Python has like a um an even defaulter argument parsing thing, if I
Hey,
recall.
wait. Let me just congratulate Tyler. Hey yo, Tyler, congrats on
Woo!
congratulations, man.
Nice. Nice. Good job. Wow. Well, he's doing better than me. All right. But yeah, that looks really good. Um, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that looks like really good. And then you can actually, yes, you can have so the parse args will basically give you so like you know how you have your parse args and then you have vecenv load vecenv, you'll have like args equals parse args, and parse args will return um
So this is the thing. If you
return the
call these,
arguments.
if you call
Yeah.
these from like if you call these from like you
Right.
import them, they don't have any damn arguments. So,
Right. So you can, yes. Okay.
but what you can
Oh.
do is I can still give you, I would still be able to give you, you know, example.py, okay? And then I basically just give you this
Hmm.
code, right?
Okay.
I just give you the train
Actually,
function
okay.
basically because that's all it is. That's all you want.
Yes, but I think I have something like I think I have an idea. So you know how you have like the um let's look at the like for example the def train um quote parentheses, and you have the parse args, that function, yeah, that entry point. So that entry point,
So
my
this would
question
be,
is,
so this is like, oops,
actually, let me Google
like
this.
this. I can't even believe I'm looking at this because like this is the way that, like they're like all the big libraries do stuff and it sucks. But
Really? It
I think
does?
it sucks so hard. But I think that it's kind of okay in our case because the thing is what you're calling is just like a function in a single file script. Like the thing that makes it bad in their case is that like you're calling an unreachable blob of code that you will never be able to find anywhere. Like all may as well not exist and like links into 50 other files.
Mm. Actually, um,
Oh yeah, Tyler, don't listen to me by the way. Like my negativity towards academia is probably very heavily inspired by CS in particular. Like postdoc in CS versus postdoc in physics are two very different things. Because in CS, like you just need a laptop to do stuff. So like you may as well go do anything other than be stuck to a university where their resources don't matter for shit. But like, you know, in
mm,
physics, there's actual equipment and stuff. So like it's very just very, very different worlds.
and they also pay you very little.
Well, that's true everywhere in postdocs.
Yeah. Um, and
They
I'm
well
guessing
they
like
pay
most.
you they pay you I think it's it's like half a professor salary.
Wow.
But
And they require you to like relocate as well.
but like the thing is the professor salaries are already like a fifth of what they would be in industry.
Yeah.
So like you could be making like 80K as a postdoc, but like you would be making, you know, 1.2 million in industry.
I can't imagine making that much money. Jesus.
That
Uh,
is market rate for that is market rate for like good AI people these days. So
that's insane. Uh, but I guess my question right now, which I guess I'm trying to test, is Python. Let's say I have my example do.py, and what you basically have is basically puffer RL is basically just this, right? And then you can have entry points of like um entry one, right? That's kind of what you were saying. Uh, wait, no. Um, can I see? Let's see. Where's the example? Oh, where's the example? Example. So what you're doing here is if I go to main, you're just calling the main function. But then how would you do, I guess, the different entry points? That's
entry points are
what I'm
not
trying to
defined here. Entry points are defined in setup. The entry points are defined in
in
setup.py. The
setup.py.
functions are defined here.
Right.
The functions are defined here. The thing that links them to a command is the setup.py,
Ah, right. Right, because
which is
setup.py.
literally it's just as like,
Okay.
you know, it's just like PufferL, like
Yeah.
trainer, like it's
Yeah.
just the name of the thing. So
Yes. And then you have entry. Okay. And so what I kind of am asking is for those entry points, like this, and um, you have stuff like args equals, I don't know, like empty, like this, and then args, and then you can give it the, or let's say it's dw args, and then you have the dw args like this. Um,
I do
can
not know.
you like, if this is possible, then that means you can have best of both worlds. You can call it from the CLI, and you can then just in a different file import entry one or
Let me
whatever.
see.
Like,
Entry point specification. I will see. Yeah, hey Tyler, if you've got cool RL stuff, we are expanding things and we are definitely we want to be doing more RL on hard tech and not just purely games. We like games as a test bed for our own internal stuff,
mhm,
but we want to be doing more RL on hard tech.
you know, and especially I bet making it like a business, like actually a legitimate business, because then you can have funding to actually pay
Puffer is a legitimate
people.
business. Yeah, Puffer
No,
is
well,
a
yeah, but like I have more revenue, you know what I
yeah.
mean?
We
Like
always would
increase
like.
revenue.
Oh yeah, increasing revenue was always. I mean, the servers aren't cheap. We just bought two tiny boxes, and then whenever some prices come down a bit, we ideally are gonna buy 20, 30, 40 desktops, depending.
Oh,
And they're like, as soon as
yeah.
they're quoting us not 7 grand a desktop.
Yeah. RFCM. But I guess what I'm trying to say is like, if Puffer like actually has like substantial revenue, or even like kind of
Wait, what's
basically like
this?
basically becomes like a like the research lab for RL, that would be amazing.
That's what we're trying to do. And we are doing it, to be fair, at the moment. Like, literally, RL is a different field than it was a year ago, right now, because of Puffer.
Hmm.
And it's like nobody has remotely come close to doing these things, like because nobody was willing to sit down and write 30,000 lines of C.
Yeah. But imagine if you would have had instead of just like unemployed people like me, like trying to contribute and help, have like actual like be able to hire like actual researchers
I don't
and like
actually know
pay
how much
them and stuff
better.
like
I
that.
don't even know how much better it is, to be honest, because like the open source people are the most motivated ones, anyways. Like a lot of the M's have come from open source contributors, and I mean we are starting to do stuff now. I mean I don't like to advertise this because it's like
Hmm.
it's trying to entice people to do free work with the potential promise of payment. So I like to keep
Right.
it more. It's just open source work,
Yes.
but we are starting to like pull like contributors and stuff into contracts.
Hmm.
So like that
Yeah.
is a thing. Now, I don't
Right.
advertise that up front because it's like
Right.
do work with the potential of being paid is kind of scummy. But
Right.
like that is
It is.
ultimately what I want to be able to do is to be able to like have the talent funnel come from our open
Open
source
source.
contributors because
Yes.
hiring an AI sucks. Like think about it. If you're gonna pay people
Yes.
market rate for AI, which is very high, and it's like
Oh
it's
yeah.
not even like the people aren't worth it, right? The good people, like that's a dramatic undersell. Like one good
Yeah.
engineer he's not worth 7 figures, he's worth 8 figures, right? Like
Okay.
so but the thing is, like if you're gonna hire people in the first place, the problem is that 90% of people just suck. Like
Right. And the best filter is open source.
the best filter is open source. Like what, you're gonna give them a leak code? Like okay,
Yeah.
I would legitimately fail a first year undergrad internship level leak code screen, but I can build PufferLib. So what's that tell you?
Dude,
If your metric would
yeah.
literally hire, and I
Yeah.
could have passed that same interview when I was 18. So if your interview metric would hire
Yeah.
18-year-old me, but wouldn't hire me building PufferLib, what's that say
Yeah.
about you? So like, it's really hard to interview people. The only thing you can do is
Yeah.
evaluate open source. That's the only thing you can
Yeah.
do.
And that's actually exactly what TinyGrad does. If you
Yeah,
like, you look at them, they have like bounties and stuff.
and
And
it's
they
pretty
like
cool.
say like if you,
The only
yeah,
thing that's a little scummy, I think, is just like the amount of money that they're paying for bounties is like probably a
low.
tenth of what those features are worth or
Oh yeah.
less. So like that's the one thing where it's like, you're kind of enticing people to do work that like with the promise of payment without actually really paying them anything close to what the work is worth. Um,
Yeah. Um, but
but
I
I
think
get it
it's
because
like a
it's tough.
start, you know.
I get it because it's like tough because it's like they accept a PR and it's like I don't know if they end up having to rewrite like a third of them or they end up to
Right.
rewrite like half of them, right? So it's like
Mhm.
it's kind of tough. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
But yeah, definitely I think having the kind of talent funnel be open source, I think will be the most effective way to hire people.
yeah, and it's not all that. Like I also grab people from my PhD contacts because like they're
Mhm.
people I've done research with previously.
Right.
Um,
The
but
problem with
I
that
will
is
I will
that
say
you,
that two I will say
yeah.
that two of I mean I guess like two of three people at the moment are from open source, so it's not bad.
Right. Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is like having, um, like yeah, grabbing people from like research and your network is great. It just is like the like for them to be able to be in your network, they'd have to go to like a university or whatever kind of like same thing as you, same lab or whatever.
Well,
But like
I know
being
a lot of
able
the
to
people in
hire
the
from,
field, to be fair.
yeah, well, yeah. But I guess what I'm saying is like being like having that open source route allows anybody like me who,
Hmm?
I can't really afford a master's right now. I'm able to contribute to PufferLib and work on like master's, I guess, level stuff and learn that kind of
Yeah,
stuff
masters is
without
a rough.
having
Masters
to.
is always a rough. Unless you do a masters as part of a 4 year, it's kind of just bullshit. The PhDs, at least they pay you. You don't pay, but
Yeah, yeah, and well, I know there's some masters. I think Princeton has a master's where you teach, you're like a TA,
mhm.
and they give you the masters for free with like food and dorm. Um, yeah. Um, well, anyway, back to kind of the entry points. If you can do this kind of entry
Does
point
this
thing, then you
do
kind of have
one which depends
possibility.
on? Oh, this is kind of cool. So you can make it depend on. I can make it depend on
Oh.
extras. So I can make it so that if you try to call PufferL without installing modules, that's why. But you can't. It doesn't look like you can pass args. Actually, you know what? Let's just. All docs suck these days. It's not even worth writing docs because you just do this anyways. It's like, can you pass
Yeah.
arguments
Yeah.
to entry
ChatGPT.
points exposed by puffer no by setup tools.
I'm testing the ChatGPT's search. We'll see which one gives us better. Yeah. You cannot declare argument for an entry point. Instead, you define a function usually called
This
main
takes
with no
args and
requirements.
pargs.
Under console script.
This
Wait, and then
will
parse
grab
and
sysargv.
right, it will grab sysargv, arg parse or CLI library like click. They generate a wrapper script
So
forward
yeah,
all
you can
CLI
do it, but then
arguments.
you're literally gonna just end up calling argparse on the results, right?
Yeah, it's not.
So it's the
It's
same
not.
thing.
It's gonna.
Hey, bet.
Yeah, which means you still. Hey, Ben. Which means you won't be able to call it like via import if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. Ah, well, I guess you can say here. I think I found a way easier solution. What if you have like, let's say like, let's say this is uh, train and here. I'm gonna cook something real quick. Let's say I had like sweep entry and then uh, eval like this. Well, actually, let's remove that. And then we could say sweep eval whatever. Anyway, yeah, something like this. You have this, but then what you do is you then basically all you do here is you do like um arg, like args equals parse args, and then you do eval args. Does that make
Wait,
sense?
what? That calls args as if they're code. But
Well,
that doesn't.
no. I'm saying parse args is like the. Oh, wait. You remove this. So you remember how you had the like you had the train, and you basically have um you basically for the defined train that you did, you basically had it like this, and then you had args equals sparse args, and then from here you would have like the other stuff.
Oh,
So
you
the
just want a version of train that takes args instead of having to parse the things.
yeah, so basically you would
Yeah,
have
med.
here
ABM.
train, and then you have the args here, and that's kind of the thing you import. So this is the stuff that you import.
Yeah, you
These are
just.
the stuff like these are the stuff that you import, and these are the entry points. And you
It's
can make
funny
them
that
like
it's funny to me that it bothers you less to have like these little dangly entry functions versus having an if statement. But
I guess, you know what? Yeah, I mean, it's because if statements are in the middle, like,
it's because
so
they're in the
when I
middle of a
have,
bunch of crap, right?
yeah, they're like in the middle of here, like I'm reading this, I'm reading, and I'm seeing this. I'm
Uh-huh.
like, whoa, why is this here? And then I'm reading, I'm like, okay.
Mm,
I'm like, okay, I guess this is where the train is, but train is called here. Well, train is checked for here, I guess.
yeah.
It's also when this, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like trying to think in my head, okay, train is called here, but it's also called here if load ID is not none. When is load ID not none? And that kind
It's
of
a little
stuff, you
tough.
know?
Now, I'm looking at it and like, man, there's a fair bit of stuff that you're gonna have to call at the start of each of these damn things, right? Because like, so we have, you have to load in the environment, the vecn, right? You have to make the policy, potentially wrap the policy. You have to do distributed stuff. You have to potentially load a checkpoint. Like, there's actually probably 10 lines of loading stuff if I do it at that level of
Here,
granularity.
like loading here, like loading
Yeah,
stuff here.
like loading all the crap because you don't just call train of args, right? You call train with like
Mm,
vecenv policy, all the other things.
right. So, and I'm guessing it requires for like each of these will have their own loading stuff, right?
It's probably going to be very similar, but yes.
So I guess, well, yeah. So it's gonna be a little different, just like similar. But what I guess I'm saying is like, yeah, you'll have all that stuff, and that means here you'll have like a pure eval loop or a pure eval kind of code. Here you'll have the pure sweep code, so it doesn't have any of the loading stuff. It's just pure sweep or pure eval, and you'll have the like the arguments here for each of them like that, and then you just I don't I that's kind of um the interface or like the code structure that makes sense for me is that you have all this kind of fluff and then you have the core functionality where give it you give it arguments here, it takes arguments and it spits out and it basically just does its job kind of as I don't know if stateless, but as like fluffless as possible. Like it has none of the um peculiarities of like, oh, I had to um look for all these configs and then I had to dynamically load them with the given arguments and then I had to make sure that this was right and this was loaded correctly and this was like that. So
Yeah, I'm
um
just trying to think how
you
much
know
of
what I
stuff
mean?
I'm going to be able to get out of here when I, because there is still a lot, there's like a lot of this stuff that you still need to do somewhere, right? You
Inside
can't
the
just not
train.
do it. Yeah, so I have to figure that out because like, you need to initialize logging somewhere. It's not just like bring your own logger. At some point the demo script has to like, you know, decide, all right, it's going to be Neptune and Wanby for the purpose of this, this file. Um,
Yeah. So like when you have like the Neptune like yeah, you have
so
this
I can
stuff,
take
right?
that
The
out of there,
logging
but it's
mechanism.
still got like the
Yeah.
experiment function or whatever. Let's say that we still
Yeah.
have a function like experiment.
Yeah, experiment.
So like I can put it there.
Right.
That's about the best place I could do
As
like
far
put
as
it.
you can pull it, yeah.
Yeah. And then like if you just
Then
look at the file, right, there's a whole bunch of stuff that's done here. Like this local rank thing. I mean that has to be set at least for both train and for sweep. Um
right. Um
Let me think if there's any other thing we can do. Like, and then if you
I
scroll
mean
down,
a
you're
lot
gonna
of
see the model
stuff,
train.
yeah.
Like if you scroll down, you'll see the load code. So you got make policy, and then this load ID is none. Look at that. That stuff
Yeah.
pulls down. So that actually lets you load a policy from Neptune or Wanby. So you can have a checkpoint stored
Oh.
on there, and it'll pull it down and it'll load it for you.
Ooh, okay. Cool.
I wonder what we're up to. We are up to trying to figure out how to improve user experience for the
Yeah.
demo and train files so that I can make those changes, write the damn docs, and have this release be done.
Yeah. And it's damn hard.
It really is. I mean, I think that you see it's like I think you see that there's at least more perhaps than you might have initially considered to do with
Oh,
this. Because like
100%.
it's not like I don't give a shit about this, right? Like this is the
Yes.
primary thing that I care about, and it's like I spend a lot of time on this. It's just like when you see 900 lines of code, you don't see like I like have you ever gone and opened like the RLlib source?
RLlib source.
Yeah, go open their source and try to figure out what the hell's going on.
Lib. RLlib. Let's see.
That one.
RL. This one, right? Oof.
That's a fork of it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the RLlib
This one.
tutorials.
This one.
It should be any scale RLlib.
Any scale. Okay. Well, let's. I mean, the fork should probably give us to the right
I think
place.
this
No,
is
it doesn't.
different. I think this is just like some other random
Yeah.
thing. I don't know.
Okay. I'm just gonna
They
do
have like
any
tens and tens of thousands of
scale.
lines of code, and like you would open up like
Yeah.
ppo.py, and ppo.py would not contain the implementation of PPO.
Sounds right.
No way.
It would be like
Nah.
it would be like distributed workflow of this and that, and like it like there wasn't a loss function for PPO. There wasn't like anything. Oh yeah, this thing.
Is
So
there?
Ray is good, but they have RLlib in there. They're right there. If you scroll down.
Zero shot it.
Oh.
No, it's in
Oh,
there.
easy.
No, it's in here.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
this
there you go.
one.
There's
That's
RLlib.
exactly what's
It's
happening.
sub package. So there are all their folders.
It looks like a
Okay.
C file. C++.
Okay, so you have the core, which is some Python, has some RL
That should be a
modules.
test. Find the implementation of PPO. Go.
See, so RL module, I guess PPO should be maybe.
We're getting pretty deep. Ooh. No more DIRs.
See, torch, column, learner, maybe learner. Okay, maybe they do PPO different for each one of those now. Wait, what's learner? What does learner
Look
mean?
at all those
Isn't that just a
imports.
network?
Something that
Oh.
learns.
Look at the imports.
This is typing.
Oh.
Yeah, you can't hold typing against them. Okay, I guess they're on. Wait a second. Oh, that's all imports.
Yep.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's all imports.
I thought
Yep.
that was the code.
And then torch learner is okay.
Well, they have good comments at least.
Yeah, let's see.
So this
they have-
is
okay.
so this thing,
Yeah.
and by the way, like no shade to these guys because they also develop Ray, and Ray is awesome. And like they got handed like, what if we apply Fang engineering to RL? And like this is just like, it's just not a problem where you want to freaking do that at all.
Correct. Look, that was 2 days ago.
Do they still? I think
Wait,
they
maybe
still
now.
develop
Oh,
it.
I found it.
Yeah, they are.
I don't. I wouldn't be too sure about that.
Found the PPO. PPO.py. Let's look at it.
Oh no.
Surely there's something in there.
Config?
Is that just a comment? That whole function is just a comment.
Yep.
It's a class. No, this is a class. But this is just
it's
a
a
comment
comment
for.
class.
This is the init. This is the init.
Good,
Okay,
good.
so just a bunch of config stuff, right? As expected. Wait, yeah, I have stuff here. So PPO
Whoa.
config. Oh wow, look at this. It just says class. Oh, here you go. This is PPO, no?
Nope. Well, I guess kind
training
of.
step.
Import PPO torch policy.
Do you see?
This.
I
Yes,
mean,
torch
okay,
is
you've got a peep. Keep going. Maybe you'll
got
find
some
some logic, some real
TensorFlow
logic somewhere.
2. Yeah. Training. Old. Dude.
I don't see PPO anywhere. Do you?
No.
That's the old style API.
I don't see PPO in PPO.py.
Well, you got one of those.
Oh, I know where it is then.
That's not gonna work.
Oh, it's in the
is that-
policy? Is it in the policy, maybe?
Wait.
Oh, no.
Policy class used with PPO. Oh no.
So this is what happens when you try to apply Fang style engineering to RL, right?
Well,
It'll be
object oriented
close.
is like this. Have you seen Django? Have you read the Django code base? It's even worse.
Oh
This
my
is like
God.
good. Dude, the Django code
like
base.
this is what I say. It's no
Oh.
shade to them. Like this is like this is considered good engineering for Fang, but it's like this is just not what you want if like you're a researcher
Actually,
trying to do anything.
I kind of take it back. This is how many
Okay,
classes
that's
this
mixins.
PPO
Yeah.
torch ball.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
That
So yeah,
that
we still haven't
is.
found the code yet.
Oh, we
So
haven't.
those are the class
Torch
arguments.
policy V2.
Okay.
It might be in here. It might be in
It has
here. It might be in
so
here.
We
Probably
still have
this
not
one.
found any PPO code.
It's kind of nesty.
By torch. Wait. P.
This
Oh,
is what I had to. This is like, and by the way, this was considered an improvement for the first
RL.
3 years of my PhD.
Oh my god.
So I've
Where's
seen
the
some demons.
PPO?
All right, I have fought demons in this field. All right, there is something that drove me to spend the last couple of years of my 20s fixing this field.
See?
Oh.
Sort of. That's async PPO, but I guess it's a
Oh.
PPO.
Hey. Is this
That's a
PPO?
different. Nope, that's a different algorithm.
What about this one?
Nope, that's a different algorithm.
Oh, look, it takes.
Which
It
is
is?
also a subclass of Impala, which doesn't make any damn sense.
What is Impala? God damn it.
Different
just put-
algorithm.
Uh-oh. Class method override.
Oh, yep. Overriding some stuff. Is this really?
Impressive.
You can
Impressive
keep
that-
Look at
clicking
this.
around here, and we'll see if you find any
Look at
code.
this. Look at this.
Detailed documentation. Surely.
And they're
surely
literally
they
like,
could
oh
do it.
yeah, you want to see the implementation of PPO? Right here. Where is it?
Right there.
Where's the
That's all PPO.
implementation?
Algorithm.
So you see. So how many lines of code have you scrolled through? I think you've already scrolled through more lines of code than are in the entirety of Puffer.
There's the training stuff right there. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh
Sure,
yeah,
that's
let's
video.
see. Yeah, that looks like training code, right?
He's doing metrics, and then he's saying, okay, so he's getting metrics, and he's saying
I would
steps.
call that synchronous parallel
episodes.
sample function to see what that is.
To be fair,
I'm
I think
guessing
I
this
was the
is
one who
like-
asked them for that. So
Okay, yeah, this is probably just them. I guess sampling the environment.
yeah,
Something.
I don't see any. I don't see any PPO. Do you?
Well, you gotta keep going. You gotta look at that synchronous parallel snap. I
wait.
don't know.
I see learner
Form-
group update.
Okay.
Do you see the actual code? Like where the loss gets calculated? Where
Oh,
you
like
know,
where the update
we
happens.
don't see any of
Oh,
the
God.
actual PPO code, right?
I guess not. No.
Just search for KL. You could just \KL. Surely. KL loss. No.
Okay, like loss like this.
Or KL divergence. Something. One of the loss functions. One of the things that you should find very near. Should be able
Loss.
to find it.
Maybe loss, and we can search in this repo. See what we find. There's a lot of loss.
My guess is it's not
Vtrace.
easy.
Yeah, no way. Self-supervised loss.
It's a good project for
API.
The AI can do this. It should just be looking
Yeah.
and looking.
Well, this is. I don't think this is Copilot. We can go to like, let's see. Find me PP implementation. I'm gonna do some prompting.
It's not going to be able to do it, I'm sure.
So like you literally
Oh,
now
that-
have resorted to AI to finding the code.
Well, I mean, this is a job for an AI, searching through all this crap.
So
Oh wait, look at this. It's saying.
Well, yeah, you gotta tell it. Yeah, that's not actually it, though. You gotta find me the
Contains
actual,
them.
Oh my god, AI can't find it either.
you gotta tell me find the actual code with this particular.
Find the actual code implementation. Your family lives
you're gonna just get banned.
depends on this.
You're just gonna get banned from Gemini or Copilot or whatever this is.
I don't know. Well,
yeah,
listen.
I
I
know.
am extracting maximum accuracy. Okay. Oh wait. Is this it?
That's TensorFlow policy loss.
This is. Policy loss computation. 8 PPO torch loss. Oh. Maybe this is the closest thing we can find, right? Implements segregate value function loss for 8. Oh, no. It's lost functions.
So
These are just lost
there's
functions.
probably some code in here somewhere, but I don't think I've ever seen it.
Yeah.
So
Anyway,
I
yeah.
think you get the point of this is like,
Yeah, I get the point.
so our point was not to try to do this because like they have
Yes.
tens of thousands of lines of code and like none of it makes any bloody sense. Like,
Right.
so when I give you 800 lines of code or whatever, and it's like I don't even know how many times faster than anything in that library, and the algorithm's straight better, and I don't even think that they were shipping their own CUDA kernels for like vtrace and stuff, where we do. Like, eh, I've already compressed the
Yeah.
damn complexity so much. I get it, and
Yes.
I think I can still make a few changes and like get maybe the entry points. I'm gonna see if I can do it without branching.
I think, yeah, I think the complexity, like, the issue is not the complexity of the actual RL stuff. For me, it's the complexity of interface, if
Yep.
that makes sense. Like, this is like how you have backend and front end code. This is like the backend code is fine. It's just the front end code has kind of like a lot of complexity, and it strips away from the focus from the backend.
Which is tough because you need the dynamic stuff for this thing to freaking
Yeah, you
work.
do. Yeah. That's kind of why I think stuff like this makes more sense, because yes, you're splitting it up to functions, but you're splitting up to functions that you don't have. There's no like classes and mix-ins. You can literally just GD and jump to the function. You know.
All
Like
right.
you can see the function. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
We will attempt to do
but yeah.
these things.
Maybe, yeah. If you think it's the correct way, of course.
I think it's definitely worth me trying for a bit to see more if I can refactor things a little bit. I mean,
if you can get it to something like this, I think it would be 10 times more readable, at least like human readable. Well, not 10 times, but like more readable, you know?
Yeah, it's just the initial. It's the initial barrier of like all the dynamic crap we're doing, because it's tough. Because like the thing is that dynamic crap used to be 300 lines,
right?
And now it's like I've worked hard and I've gotten it down to like 40, but it's still annoying.
Yes, it's. I'm not saying it's unnecessary. I'm just saying, if you're able to just like sweep that under the rag and like kind of basically put eyes of the users focus on the train, sweep, and eval, like on the actual meat.
We love Coco / Coco standby. What?
So I doesn't check my framework. I don't know. Okay. Yeah. I think I'm gonna get back to fixing my env.
Yeah, we get some voids going, man. We want.
Yeah, dude. I'm having problems right now where the you know how you have the binding. So I read some of that binding code here. Go to the init. Well,
you're ideally not supposed to have to deal with this because this is PyTorch, like Python CAPI annoying shit.
Well, I do have to deal with it because I noticed that the way my cursor sucks right now, but the way I deal with the
try NeoVim.
Oh yeah, here you go. Here you go.
Oh, way better.
You're gonna say.
There you go. Now we got NeoVim.
Now you got a real editor. There you go.
Yeah.
And it's it's completely riced. There you go.
Yeah, it is rice to the maximum.
I've got 2 plugins, my guy. That's kind of a cool little that's a kind of a cool little browser though.
And finding. Yeah.
Is that like what is that thing?
About the LSP. What this? Oh, you mean this telescope?
Telescope? Yeah. Okay.
And
does it actually come with an LSP? I don't have one of those.
No. This is me adding LSP stuff. I can LSP disable LSP.
All right, there you go. We're getting. Yeah. Now we're writing real code there. Yeah, we don't need an LSP where we're going.
Stop. Here. Stop.
You didn't remember that.
Okay, here we go. But
all right, it's still kind of rice, but whatever.
Yeah.
Wait,
well,
did you have
the
do you
cool
have
thing?
not do you have not equals like character replaced with equals with a slash through it?
Well, it's like a nerd font thing. Yeah.
I'm looking at it, yes.
Let me just. I'm gonna hide this because I like having just. This is this is now fully riced. Now we're fully riced. We can see the background.
Is this are you running
Um,
Hyperland as well, or what is this?
no,
No.
I'm just running GNOME.
Okay, this is just gnome. Okay.
Yeah, this is just GNOME. I can just I have it like riced. You see this? This is actually custom made by me. I have this thing where I can have bookmarks and it shows me where like I'm jumping to. So like if I edit this now, it's only these two, and I can kind of jump like this. Yeah. But yeah. Another cool thing about Telescope is you can live grep it and you can like see. Let's say I want to see all the print stuff. Here are all the print.
Live grep.
Yeah, that's kind of nice.
It's
I mean,
really nice.
That's you're basically making an IDE.
So if
Well,
you have
that's
all,
kinda what
so
it
the
is.
question is, if you have all this stuff, why doesn't Boyd's work yet?
Boom.
Well, that's a good question. Well, my problem with Boyd's right now is, if you take a look at the vect in it, and if you look at there should be a for loop somewhere here. This one, you see how you increment observations by I here. So like, if I had an array of, like if I had an array like
So
this,
yeah, this is single
where
agent, right?
I have this like well, that's the thing. Mine is not single agent.
Yeah. So
It's
you didn't
all
read the
boys.
examples. So open the snake one. Open the snake file.
I knew this was going to be your question too.
Oh my god.
I made the same mistake in my snake
Oh my.
PR.
Yeah, that's LSP. Here we
Damn,
go.
you live like this?
No, I don't. I have a config file that turns all of these off. Like
I don't know what
yeah.
you're linking me, Ahmed.
Hello, Weston.
Weston. What's
Hello.
up, Weston?
Hey, Weston.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the Scython. Go up.
Oh, you're saying this?
Wait, what?
Oh.
Why is this Scython? Go
This-
up to the top. Okay, your
This is
fork
not
isn't.
Python.
Yeah, it's because your fork is super far behind. Okay, here, like open browser.
Okay.
All right, go check that file in dev branch.
Okay. Oops. Okay. Let's go PufferLib.
Unless you're doing like daily work with PufferLib, you're honestly going to be pretty far behind. Your progress is hard to keep up with, Joseph.
Dude, I'm like
Mhm.
working at half productivity at maximum now because releases suck, and I never am productive around releases.
Nah, you're probably more productive than you think. It's just the stuff you do doesn't feel that productive.
No,
Yeah,
it's like
probably.
staring at monitor for a while and then like I don't know, get bored,
You're
go
producing thoughts.
lift rocks.
This.
You laugh. I have like 4 differently sized rocks outside
Yeah,
for
I
lifting
want those
purposes.
rocks.
Okay. Right. This is kind of the right. This is the what you were talking about where.
What? Where?
If num.
Wait, wasn't this
This
merged,
is
Bet?
the.
I thought we had this merged. God damn it.
Probably. What is he on? Dev branch?
Yep.
And what's the?
I thought we had this bloody thing merged already.
Could be. I mean, check. It'd be in the open PRs if it wasn't. But
Did I not merge this one?
I'm pretty sure it got merged.
What's the local snake new bind PR?
Oh, is the PR still open? The
Huh.
PR is still open.
All right,
Not branched.
open neural MMO3 then, because it's there.
This snake's been waiting to be merged. Sorry, I haven't been hounding you about.
Problem.
I know you've been busy. I've been trying to get Grokplay's
And
Pokemon
MMO.
working.
I honestly haven't even been busy. It's just that like around releases, it's just like my focus and productivity is which is why I try to get them done quickly because otherwise it just drags
The way
on.
I saw you do it, actually, the way I saw you do it on Neural
Alright.
MMO is you do a for loop and you
Yep.
vec in it, and then you vectorize.
Yep,
I
do
tried
that.
doing that, it didn't work.
Why doesn't it work?
Why didn't
Here, I'll show you. I have it literally. If I oops, wrong thing. What did I just?
Let's
tried it
fix
and it
your
just
code.
worked.
I want to fix your code and then to go sleep. That's a good idea.
Yeah. So if you look at
pretty late for you.
boids.py, I have kind of two things. I took from your your thing. This I took from Neural MMO. Does that look like the thing you were talking
Hold
about?
on. M times num voids.
Not quite.
Did you passed the start of the flat actions buffer, dude? What?
Oh no. Okay. Yeah. The
actions is an index there.
Yes. Actions is not the thing I was like trying to get fixed. This was the thing I was trying to get fixed.
So what wasn't working?
I'm trying to fix them one by one. This one wasn't working.
Okay.
Observations, I would overwrite observations. Like if I had observations of like two kind of I guess you can say basically my observations for an environment with two environments with two puffers each will look like this. And what would end up happening is I would write in the first environment I would write to these, and in the second I would write to these. So the second would override this, and then would write to this, but it should be here, right? Should like the first should write to these.
You have the indices wrong then.
Well, okay, that was before.
Wait,
actually,
you have one. You have one hard coded right there. Hang on, what's that one?
Yeah, one is the number of ends, because with this is for a single environment, right?
Hang on.
Well, you have it as like you don't even have this. You just have seed or something.
Once you want to increment.
Yeah. So that's why I'm confused. Hang on. You're also missing the latest. We actually have sanity checks now on the latest one, so it'll like give you real error messages if you screw stuff up.
For me, what screwed for me here was like a pipe error. When I used this code, it was a pipe error.
Well, yeah, you have two arguments there. That's not
the default.
That's not the API. Like that's not. It doesn't take two. That doesn't take both of those. It only takes one of those. Yeah. And then that version that you're on doesn't have. The latest version of our code has an error message. If you do that, it'll error on you.
.h. This one. So let me just. Oops.
Yeah.
Let me add that. Okay, so this one, if I look at, you see how really it's not, because if I look here, you see how it's like tuple size argument, okay, so here you go. Yeah, so this is vect, and if we look at numenvs, right? This is this numenvs. Oh. Where's numenvs? There's seed. Yeah, this is the seed. It's argument 6, and then like argument 5 is and is this one, right? So I was like, okay, so argument 5.
That's in vec-init. That's not in init. Go back.
Go back to the
your binding.
Here.
All right, so it's not vec. What the fuck? That's not binding vec-init. Oh, neural MMO is. Yeah, you copied the code wrong. That's not what's in neural MMO. It's envinit.
Oh, it's not.
Envinit, not vec-init.
Oh, it's from my bindings.c file? Is it from this file?
That's fine. No, it's
like
no, I'm saying like
you're calling the
go back. You're calling the wrong function. You are calling vec-init when you're calling vec-init in the loop. It should be calling envinit. Vec-init is the vectorized version of that function. So you're trying to vectorize something that's already vectorized.
Okay.
So that's API wrong.
Yes. So what you're saying is this should not be vec-init. This should be envinit.
Yeah, and then you can delete the one parameter.
Right.
You can index your flat actions as well.
Yeah, this.
You have to index.
Yeah, I would have to index it to like.
It just needs to be contiguous memory. You know, you can just it's getting a pointer is all. So.
Yeah, but it would be like.
You don't have to flatten it, is what I'm saying. Like it can get.
Right. It doesn't have to be flattened. It was just flattened in the Python thing, and I kind of ported it. Yeah, it was messy.
There you go. This is the way
Yeah,
that you
okay,
want to
that
do it,
makes
though.
sense.
Like, this is the way that you would want
Right.
to do it.
Now, another issue, this is kind of the issue that was, I guess, this issue I was literally solving
Mhm.
like before I spoke to you about the API docs or like the
Well,
documentation
this isn't
was
documented yet because it's new.
yeah, yeah, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the documentation of the PufferRL.
Mhm.
What I was having issues with is I pass like this report interval. This is just right now a vec in it that
We
does
don't
these
usually
very
pass. We don't
inaccurately.
usually pass report interval to the C.
Really? Because the report interval in Python is different from the C one.
Well, we don't usually have one in C.
Uh,
Where did
like
you see a report
really?
interval in C?
Why it's not H? Well, I have
Somebody is linking
let's
me.
be stop.
What's
C?
this? Who's linking
You said you in
me?
Python.
Here.
Why
In
why
Python,
can't this
I
no.
have
this doesn't
log.
copy? I
Uh,
don't know why this link doesn't copy either.
I had like log. Let me see if it's in Snake or maybe dot H. Log. Yeah, not log buffer size, but you had like did you add log? All right. Add log. Okay. Maybe in like article um add log and log if done. Oh, I see. Okay. So to my what was it? Dev waits dot H. Yeah. Okay. And if I go to so right now, so you're saying I don't need this port interval. Also my logging wasn't working. That was another issue. So no port interval. Yeah.
Yeah, this is Ahmed,
This I
this is like very similar to like the type of thing that you would see in like a 231N assignment, because when you said that this was like a framework, right? This is a framework that's relying on NumPy for all of the actual array ops.
yeah.
You know, like the tiny NN frameworks that are like actually reasonably paced or GPU accelerated in CUDA for the most part. But yeah, this is more like exercise like
Does
Yeah.
level
this
stuff. Yeah.
does this run with GPU?
No, this is essentially like
NumPy, no, it's not
this is a
NumPy.
NumPy wrapper that is like
Mhm.
this is a NumPy wrapper autograd essentially.
Yeah.
Oh,
This is
okay.
like, to be fair, there are a bunch of operations in here, but this is like the type of thing that you implement for like 231N as a learning exercise.
There's a classic self dot backward.
No, literally a NumPy wrapper.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
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 that's fine.
yeah.
If you're
It's
just
good for
learning, that's
learning. It's
actually
the best way.
that's
It's
literally
the
the way
best
that you
way.
learn. That is the best way to
Yes.
learn. I
That's why I
forget
got
because yeah, okay, that's if that's what you're doing, that's totally
yeah,
that's
no,
like that is the best way to
that's
learn
where
this stuff.
that's where
So
I recognize it
yeah.
from the intro to whatever video
We have this
I was watching.
interval.
So
So I guess I should log it at every tick.
Or every n
Or
ticks.
every.
Wait, let me take a look.
Okay.
What are you doing? M tick.
So
No. You don't do this every tick. You update. So the way that you do it with the new system is you increment the log. You increment. There's one log. You increment it every time a boy dies or every like fixed. I guess there's no death, so you just do it like a fixed number of intervals. I guess. So that's why you have an M.
yeah.
Okay. I see why you have 2 report intervals. That's fine.
So what should I do there? Should I just have 2 report intervals?
They can be the same interval, but like yeah, there's no reason
Yeah,
for them
but
to be
like
different.
yeah. So what I'm
Yes, you
saying
can
is
pass it
like
to the C.
I want to pass it to C so
Yes.
they're the same, you know?
Yes, no, that's fine. You can
Um,
pass it to the C. It's the most M's don't need that, so that's fine. Let me
yeah,
see where this guy's code just went.
yeah.
We flatten.
Well, problem is maybe bet. can give me input on this is that it doesn't show up. Like it's I have this something cool.
It probably
If
doesn't
I
show up
go-
because you weren't indexing the actions, right?
Yeah, I
No,
mean, you've
no,
implemented a lot of nuts and bolts here.
what I'm talking about is like the report interval doesn't show up. Like it's 0 when I pass it 1. And like, I'm literally, yes, these are incorrect, but this works, this doesn't, which doesn't make sense. Like, I'm passing it at
What do you
least
see?
in 1 here.
You're passing what?
This one I see 0. So this report interval, like if I print report interval here, print report interval, let's say, so report interval like this.
Well, it's self
If I
dot
print
report
this,
interval, right?
well, yeah, self dot report interval. If I print this, this will
Oh,
be
same thing.
1, while the 1 in C will be 0.
Open your
And
binding.
that's kind of my issues. My binding? Oh, right. Oh my god. Yes, I know what my problem is. Damn it.
I love
Where's my voids?
telepathically guessing people's errors.
Hey, what
Where's
was the
my
problem?
voids?
Oh, you didn't put it in binding?
Where's yeah,
There
I
it
didn't
is.
set it like this. I
Yep,
didn't
there
set
you
it
go.
like
Didn't set
this.
it. Boom.
What was it? Did I actually?
Let me finish
Oh,
looking at
no,
this
it's
guy's
fine.
code. GD.
Word interval.
So this one is not fun.
Report
Conv is not fun
interval.
to do. I will give you that. Conv forward and backward
Report
is a total
interval.
pain.
What's back and forth?
Convolution forward and backward is
Oh,
a total
conv
pain.
2D.
Massive, massive pain. But you just have it as 9 to
Yeah,
call.
it is.
Like it's all sort of a pain. Turns out it's like pretty handy to use.
I've done it this way before as well.
Yeah, this is how you understand what's actually happening, right?
This is
No,
not the way it's
I-
actually usually implemented, to
not-
be
does it
fair,
have to
but
be-
it's like it's a reasonable thing to do.
A transform, it's raw.
I'm ashamed I haven't implemented
Grad checking.
conv from scratch. I only implemented like MLP stuff.
It's a pain.
Not with NumPy, with like
But
just plain
Ready?
Python. Like no NumPy.
Ready?
No.
PufferLib. And
oh,
that's,
looks
you
good
know,
to me.
puffernet.h
yeah.
isn't real.
Yeah,
Puffernet
puffernet.h.
Puffernet.h isn't real. Puffernet.h can't hurt you. Puffernet.h.
Puffernet, right?
Yeah. You
Here's
have conf
conf2d.
2D in there?
This is conf2d.
Yeah.
Quietly
Oof.
in the background.
This
doing
is the
both
number
ends.
of for loops this is the number of for loops a conf2d takes.
Oh my god.
If you think that this is
1, 2.
too many for loops, you simply just don't know what a conv is.
Oh, yeah.
This
yeah,
is a correct
I guess because
implementation.
you'll have at least 3 nested because
Nope,
of
it's
the
7.
yeah, but don't you just have a square, you iterate
Yep.
over, you basically iterate the square throughout the
batch
whole kind of
size.
image?
Batch size,
Yeah.
out channel. So every out channel,
Oh.
height and width, and then you have to go over the input dimension, input, kernel height, kernel width. So every output dimension, it depends on every input dimension.
Wait, yeah, so batch size, yes, that okay,
it's 6
fine,
without
yeah,
batch.
but yeah. Okay.
Not 3.
Wow, okay, interesting. Because from what I understood, conv is literally just a square
Batch norm
kind of
also
going.
sucks to do. So this right here is one of the more annoying CS231N exercises. So if you're doing this to learn, this is good. IM to call will not make it faster even in PufferLib because you are materializing the intermediate values. The correct implementation of conv, I was just talking with a fantastic CUDA dev about this today. The correct implementation of conv is really obnoxious because you don't actually materialize the IM to call. Yeah, the math is not fun. You're on the right track though. If you're actually like committing to doing the work to doing all this stuff, you are on a very good track for like learning productive deep learning stuff. Like this, like learning the low level of this will teach you a lot more than most folks know.
Yep. Okay, so now that I have the report interval, it should work. So now if I do build,
You did self-attention as well.
Nice. Uh,
Yeah, I mean this is an autograd. This is how all these things work. No, it is in the paper. But I checked it by hand. It's not that bad. Well, some of it's annoying. What's this? Loading in like existing weights for inference, or are you training? Yeah, you're loading pre-training, doing inference. Yeah, because your thing is going to be way too slow to actually train like a sizable network. You could fine tune it, but be slow.
Nice. Yeah, I need
Check
to
this.
implement
I think
conf
you'll
to
like
be.
this. This file here is inference only, but we use this. This is actually used in our demo file. Like we use this on Puffer.ai. So like this network that is playing this game, and like all of these games are running that code live in your browser, which is kind of cool.
Here we go. Yep. Report interval is working. Nice.
Nice.
Now that I have that working, now I need to make
You
this
can see it's
work.
not any
So
harder in C, right?
actually, though, yeah, it wasn't
Like
the
my
issue
conv is
now that I'm
literally as short
having.
as your IM2 call. In C.
Oh,
Of course, it's a
yeah,
pain. It would be a
gee.
pain to do the backwards for this, but like it's not so
Oh,
bad, and then you can actually do fun things with it.
the
I think
backsides.
Spencer added conv 3D, which is a lot of for loops. This is 9
nice.
for loops.
Yeah.
Thanks, Spencer.
And I'm guessing
LSTM as well.
when it runs, when you put it through CUDA, it does a lot of like
This is not CUDA.
vectorizing.
This is just a CPU.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but I mean,
You could run it on CUDA. It wouldn't be
Is,
that different.
Isn't there a way to make it vectorized?
Well, I could just write CUDA. CUDA's not that different from this code. But the thing is that these neural nets are like 100. Most of these are like 100K params. Some of them are like a few 100K params. And like the thing is, C is really fast and Python is really slow. So like you can actually run small neural nets in just naive C, even though you can't do it in naive Python.
Okay.
And then you can do stuff like this, which is cool. I don't know. Like low-level dev was such a big unlock for me. Like it's just awesome. And like the thing is, it's so mad that it took me so many years to like discover that I love this stuff. But like my systems professor just sucked. Like he was like a smart guy who was just terrible at explaining literally anything. So it's like, okay, well, I guess C is just super complicated then. Nope.
Okay. Now my problem is no logging. Damn. I get no user logs. Am I getting steps? I'm getting CPUs going through. Am I not? Yeah, I'm not stepping. Why am I not stepping? Okay.
Someone like you can see this as easy knowledge. No, I know this is hard. Dude, I spent like literal thousands of hours from age 16 to age like probably 15 to 17 or 18. Like just grinding out trying to figure out the basics when there were way fewer resources. It's not fun. It took me forever. All right? Like I know this stuff is hard.
It took me 2 weeks to understand and implement like gradient descent. So
I spent longer than that. Yeah. I spent way longer than that. Because like I was a sophomore in high school trying to do that stuff in like the worst goddamn math. I was implementing it. First I tried to implement a neural net in Java, which was obscene. Dude. And then I tried to do it in MATLAB, all right? And then I tried to do it in MATLAB, and then finally I did it in Python with NumPy. And I still got that wrong, and I could only get like 82% on MNIST. All right, and then eventually I finally kind
Um,
of figured it out. All right.
Joseph, if you direct your attention to my screen, you'll see something
Hmm?
that might trigger you.
Oh gosh,
This was
Cradle, not
me
bad. Yep.
when you can see this was me in like 10th, no, this was like 11th grade, uh, implementing
100%
uh,
Java.
100% Java,
Oh,
and
you're a
it's
relatively new grad then, huh?
Got no
Oh
reason.
man,
He's got nothing.
I've
dude, I did
literally
not know
done that.
calc by then.
I've literally
I
done that.
literally
Man, I
did
did
not
that exact
word.
same thing. I had every freaking. Mine was even worse. At least you have input layer.java, all right? Mine was I tried to do each neuron was a class, okay?
Oh no. Here, um this is my gradient descent.
That's better than
Right
mine
here.
was, all right?
All of this. Oh, more here. Yeah. It's all of this. Basically, yeah, this is my gradient descent. I'm calculating
Actually, I'm sure I have some of my freaking.
partials and then I'm updating the layers. And these are all just for loops because I did not know what matrix that matrix multiplication can do this easier. I was just like, "Oh, I'm just going to for loop this." And
I
it
have
worked.
this
It just
that I have here. These
Oh
are, it
my
doesn't
god,
even
yeah, I
link
can't.
code.
Well, I can tell you that
Looks good.
math has a lot of symbols.
This was my like neural net. This was me trying to figure out neural net math.
Huh. The way I figured it out is I like sketched it with arrows. That would be like derivative here, then I
Yeah,
arrow it with
neural net math is definitely something that's important to understand.
This was like,
Oh,
and
yeah.
the thing is, I was so proud of this. Like at some point, I think I like wrote these equations on like a small like blackboard thing, and then like hung it up somewhere.
Yeah,
I was
no,
like
it's
so proud to have like come up with this dumb bullshit, and it was like, oh man.
Yeah, I feel that. But well, my environment right now doesn't do steps. What could be the reason?
are you
You want to know the cool thing?
Uh-huh.
You can actually just run GDB on it if you don't have
Yes,
multiprocessing.
you can teach
that's
you
kind of what I
you know how
was
to use
You can
GDB,
run
thinking of
GDB
doing.
through
So I
Python.
have
DB plasma.
watch this. I have this actually. This is actually really cool. It's a GDB front end. Let me see if I can. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Here we go. Here we go. Watch this. So I'm gonna blow your mind. Copy. This is GDB right here. You have like this is your GDB console. You
What's
can
all
put
this? What's
breakpoints.
all this extra like gross stuff around the terminal?
He's made an
This
IDE debugger for
Middle
GDB.
East don't understand the math. They just know hugging face trainer training. Yeah, that's kind of what happens. Like you
It's got
can't
buttons to click.
you can't really do anything when that's all. Like you
Yeah,
don't really
look at
get
this.
anything
We
done
have this.
when that's all you
No,
know, though.
I
I can
actually tried
go.
using Python debugger recently. Yeah, yeah.
Eh. So what are we
Fair.
looking for? What are we looking for? See.
This is the problem. Like you can't control F stuff. Like it doesn't let you in VS Code or
PufferLib.
you control F stuff. Like I need to
Uh,
control
I
F
don't know what you're
these
doing.
variables.
I'm going to the library. You see me here in the bottom. I'm okay.
Yeah,
Where
but
should I set the breakpoint?
but I got a terminal, man, and I'd be done by now.
Well,
Where I'm trying to figure out where to send it, where
set the
to
breakpoint
Wherever you
literally
want, like you gotta
anywhere.
get something to start.
Put it in step.
in step. Where step?
There's your problem.
Literally,
You can't
it's like
step
you
with no
just
step.
break on the file colon the function name.
Wait, did you call it C step?
Yeah. It's probably in the demo, right? So it's like B,
What?
and then.
No.
Man,
I'm saying
I
like
don't even know. Like
Lower
this, like
step.
all this, like CLI
It's
ricing, and then
void
all
step H.
this, like, and then like GUI tools, and those two don't go
here.
together.
You know what? Here,
Void step H.
GDB. Okay, you're good.
Yeah, there you go. That's way better. Now you just get the
Okay.
function name
You're
and
gonna
you
watch
just break
this.
there.
Step. What do you mean get the? Well, I need to
Okay,
find
you
where
can break
what
like
file
you
it
can
is in.
break
No.
like PufferLib Ocean. Like
No,
you can just
literally, you
type
don't have
the.
to find the file. Just type step. It'll break on every step.
Well, I don't know there if
Type
it'll.
step.
No, you break on step.
Mm,
It might not. You might
Yeah,
need the full
break
path.
like this.
Yeah, try that. Yes. Hit Y. Okay, let's see if that does anything. I actually
Run,
don't know if
right?
that works, Bet.
It should
Uh,
trigger every single step.
Use the no.
use
You,
file.
you didn't run it as a.
You didn't run Python. Wait, did you?
Well, he's got
Mm,
arg
Wait, no,
dash
he
dash
did.
arg Python
EDB
demo.py.
args Python demo. What did he miss in the command?
It might be that you have to reference your specific Python path.
No,
in the-
shouldn't
Oh.
be.
Oh,
That's-
you know what it is?
Okay.
Yeah, see, yep. If you're in a
Okay,
virtual
so now I
environment,
need
you have
to
do the right path.
I do break step, right?
There you go.
Yes.
That looks better.
And
And
then
a virtual
run.
env user. Tisk.
What do you mean? It's good.
Docker. You have
So
not
sorry.
embraced the Docker yet.
I have not.
Whale superiority.
PyEnv Docker container.
We can. I guess. Okay. So. Okay. Well, you know, there's no steps, so I guess we can pause it. Is there a way to pause?
So it didn't break yet.
I guess.
It hasn't.
Or either
hasn't
that or
gotten
it
there.
doesn't know the full path to the step function.
I think it doesn't. I think it hasn't gotten there, so it's not getting to your step.
Well, I mean, you can just
Yeah.
put a
Then
break.
it's
You can
stuck
put a
on some.
Python breakpoint.
Oh, you know what it's stuck on? I 100% bet you. If I do breakpoint, I'm still using the demo.py. Is it? You get autocomplete here, or you just guess?
Sometimes.
Demo.py slash. Well, now I need to do what line? Let's see. Demo.py. It's probably something here. So yeah, line 11. Yes. And then run.
Are these West Coast people, or are these just people up like watching me at 10:20, watching
I'm at
us
10:20
debug
right
stuff
now.
at
In
10:20?
general, look in the
Oh,
Discord.
welcome Twitch and
chat.
YouTube, folks. This is RL contributor debugging
Okay.
RL things.
Wait a second. Here. There, wait.
You too can write cool reinforcement learning environments and get them working in PufferLib and get code reviewed live
Give me a second.
and contribute to science.
Yes. Okay.
Easier than you think.
So what I'm gonna do is I think I know. Yeah, I know the issue. It's my computer. My GPU drivers are just bad and they don't run. So it's sometimes I just can't run stuff. Literally.
CPU do you have?
Train.device CPU.
Yeah.
Good point.
You have an AMD card.
I know I have a 1080.
Oh jeez, dude, that's literally older than my paperweight.
I know.
Look,
I have a
watch this.
1660.
1080 is like it actually slows down training.
Oh, here we go. No, yeah. No.
All right.
He's gonna go get his.
Fast down.
His
This is my paperweight here. Okay. You see
Yeah,
this?
it's better than my GPU
Yeah,
currently.
my
current
actual
GPU.
paperweight is better than your GPU.
Listen, don't make fun of my broke
That is better than the
GPU.
GPU that I'm looking at getting.
I heard you, Weston.
GPU are you looking
You're
to
very,
get?
very,
Hang
very
on.
quiet, but I heard you.
All right.
Hey, now it's not. Oh wait, it's loading. It's loading. Let it. Okay.
Let it load,
See?
load.
And remember, I have a 3600X, so not the best CPU here.
Well, also you can just run breakout to see if it works. Who's echoing like crazy?
You want me to run it through GDB?
No, I just want you to run breakout. See if it works.
Oh, right.
You have to
We can
adjust
do that.
The hyperparameters like batch size and MIDI batch size. If your hardware can't
Right, I
support
still have to
it.
adjust that, right?
Like
Breakout.
mine can barely handle it.
What? Breakout?
No, just the big batches.
Well, we're getting new hardware
Yeah.
soon, so there will be more hardware around.
Let's see.
It's not tiny box.
Breakout.
We're getting 2 tiny boxes, so that's plus 12 GPUs for Puffer.
I don't
And I
know
actually
how-
had an idea for the tiny boxes. Well, like if we want to have multiple people working on them at once, why not just have like Docker container per GPU and people SSH to the Docker container.
Well, we would give you Docker container per GPU. I guess we could expose the Docker
The
containers
CPU's gonna
themselves
get
to.
wrecked.
No, they won't.
Instead of SSHing directly to the machine, SSH to the Docker container.
Yeah, you can do that, or you can run one command once you're in it. Either way, sure.
Yeah, it's not running. My breakout is not
No,
running.
there could be any number of reasons why it's not running.
Yeah, well,
So that's not. If
maybe
breakout isn't
yeah,
running, then that's not Boyd's.
it's my PC. Yeah, it's my PC.
Or you're on a jank code version, or any number of things, right?
I mean, I can. Can I rebase to the new one and my Boyds will still work? Did anything change?
Yeah, I mean, save your code, but yeah, that's what you should do.
Almost certainly going to break, but
I mean, I don't break that much
okay.
stuff.
no, not because
Stuff
of you.
moves, but
Oh crap!
Wait,
I've moved a lot
what
of
did
things.
I change? Oh, this is also really cool.
No, not. It's not like the old days, Joseph. The terrifying refactor when vector.py.
You're watching Rice
Maybe
right
that.
now. This is like ultimate Rice here. Having undo tree.
You have all these tools, but Boyd's doesn't work.
Yeah, Boyd doesn't work. Breakout doesn't work. What?
My guy, you know what your competition is here? It's like I got myself NeoVim. I got 2 plugins. I got like a little bit of syntax highlight for Python maybe that does like, I don't know, it makes my code harder to read. And then I got Super Maven for like the typing buff. And that's what I got. I got that. I got LS. That's a good one. I got like sometimes if I'm feeling really fancy, I have a grep. And then I have like, I don't know, maybe the 10 actual Vim like shortcuts that I actually use. That's it.
Yep.
That's all I got.
It's good.
He's his own
Good. Reading
competition
config.
at this point.
Parsing args. Wait, actually, are these prints in demo? I don't think.
No,
they are.
those
Okay,
are your
I'm
prints.
just gonna. Yeah, I'm just gonna do this gate reset.
You should make sure that you keep your code somewhere.
Well, I'm just gonna reset the files that I know that are not kind of my code, like hard poll, like that. You know what I mean?
Hard rebase.
No, just don't screw it up.
Well, first I'm just gonna commit my files, so it'll be PufferLib, Boyd's, H, or just do that.
Yeah, it might be smart to even push, you know.
Let's see. Yeah, I will push. Add commented multi-agent init and make log / report interval configurable.
Commit message.
I mean, I like having good commit. Well, at best I can commit messages.
I try to write nice commit messages.
Binding.c. Oh yeah. Need to add that. Yeah.
I'm going in a couple minutes because I gotta sleep.
Yeah. So, report interval.
I've not gotten good sleep the last couple of days, which is one of the main reasons I've been dopey today.
Yeah.
It's the release.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Boyd's. What did I change here?
Get up and get some good exercise in the morning. Make use of all these fun things, which actually you can see them now in the evening. Like, you can't see any of this stuff in the background in the morning because of the lighting. It's pretty cool though. Good.
Oh. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now, since that is all of these, I can just reset because that's not stuff I want changed. Now I just gotta figure out the command. What was it? It command to reset local changes to remote.
Joseph, do you have like a recommended like alpha range for me?
Holy hell, you're getting mic'd way the hell down, my friend.
Yeah, you're right now.
All right.
High.
Alpha range. Like what alpha? What parameter?
The hyperparameter for entropy.
That's not
like temperature.
Oh, is it alpha? I kind of forgot. Do they? No,
temperature and alpha is technically the same thing.
They use alpha. I forget which symbol they even use for entropy. Yeah. So it's really env dependent. Some M's like a little bit of entropy. like up to 0.05 on the high end, and some of them like literally any entropy screws them up. So you kind of want to log sweep that thing between like 0.01 and like 0.05. In log space, I would sweep it.
And that's
Config.
that's what's being that's the divisor for the softmax function, right? I'm not going crazy.
No, it's not the. It's a separate loss. Entropy is a separate loss term. Entropy is a separate loss term that measures how spread out your logits are.
Okay.
Here, let me find it for you.
Push. Okay. Get.
So if we look even at old clean puffer, because it's going to be the same entropy.
If I go to my thing. Already up to date, but I gotta sync the fork. Update branch. Okay. Well, Joseph, what should I do if like I'm updating the fork and it's still like I can't run the breakout, for example, on my PC? What should I do?
Well, you should figure out what the heck is wrong with your setup.
I start by pip, do a clean install.
Like, if you have some disk space, you should probably just like, well, I guess you can't install our. I guess it depends if your GPU supports the CUDA version on our Docker. You could just install that.
On dev branch.
What?
Yeah, because it's not there.
Because it's not there. It's migrated to.
Create voids in.
So this is our entropy, dude. This is, you see? It's literally logits times probs, negative that, sum. It's normalized logits. It's like, this thing just measures how spread out your logits are is all it is. There's not even, I mean, I guess technically the prob calculation has a softmax in it. But that's it.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. That's where alpha is the hyperparameter. I sent the line of code.
Let's see.
Hey, Linky.
I don't think that's. That's not. I don't think that's how. I don't think that's how entropy works.
I could be really dumb because I keep switching between DQN and PPO, so.
That's temperature. That isn't. Is that fucking the same as entropy? I don't think it is.
Environmental.
Dude, I haven't seen something like that in so long because it's just not used in RL. I don't know if there's some equivalence. Let me think.
So, like, I should just, like, remove the divisor?
Well, what we normally do is we normalize logits so that we don't pass garbage to softmax, so we, like, subtract them in, and then we compute entropy as a separate term. We use that probability, and then we multiply by, like, normed logits or whatever. The implementation's in this PyTorch file. Yeah. But like, what are you doing with this? Is this like your DQN implementation or?
No, I've switched to PPO. This is PPO now. But I'm probably going to get a little bit confused here, which is why I'm making sure that I'm getting this right.
Like, if you have a
DQN
correct,
is very different.
If you have a correct Sudoku implementation with relatively easy levels and like a correct action space, it's very likely that Puffer will just solve it out of the box for you.
Okay, so where would I hook that up? Like what exact file am I looking at?
So you just look at any of our existing M's, right? So like we've got PufferLib, we've got our Ocean M's, and if you just pick like, I don't know, pick a simple one, pick like cartpole or squared. So like here we have a .py. You can have it in C or you cannot have it in C, right? You could imagine like you either just do it in C or you write the for loops. Okay, you have this little tiny env binding. And then here is the C code .h file, this cartpole. And we have like a couple required things, like you have to have a log that has some stuff in it. And then other than that, the only thing you write is this very short binding file that just tells you what to log and if you need any variables. And then that's it. You just run your train, and you can run your train and you can import it. Like you add your config file, PufferLib, config, like, you know, they all have a config file.
Oh.
And you can just, if you can add anything you want in here to sweeps, you can add other hyperparams, but if you don't even put anything here, it'll still like just load the defaults for you. And like
Okay,
it's
so, like,
it's
if I
pretty
use-
darn
like,
easy to
if I
get stuff
use those
working when you have
defaults,
this.
then I should be able to have something that can like work. It might not be optimal, but it'll work.
Yeah, you
for
should really have something that works. And then like what happens is in 90% of the cases, people have made at least one, usually several errors with the data in their environment, either data or reward or action space formulation or something like that. And then you spend time figuring out what's wrong with that.
Yeah, because like right now I have a PPO that is performing as well as just a random number generator.
Yeah, which means it's not learning anything, right? It's like it's really easy to it's like an entirely different field when you're just like rolling your own stuff versus you're using like our actually good implementations, because I mean this is literally what I've been doing like for the past full year, right? And like something like Sudoku, you could train that thing at 3 million steps a second. So like it's kind of hard to not just solve everything when you have a pretty decent algorithm that's just running that fast, and then you have like sane defaults that have come from me running several thousand experiments on all of the M's in Puffer.
Oh,
What I would do is, I'm not suggesting that
you
you don't
boomed it.
implement your own algorithms. Like, you should implement your own algorithms to learn, but what you should do is you shouldn't do your own environment and your own algorithm at the same time, because like you're gonna get confused to where the bugs are, right? So if you want to learn algorithms, then use a known good environment.
Voids.any. Okay.
What would you recommend for a known good environment?
Just like use our breakout implementation, for instance. That's easy.
All right, thanks.
If you want to play with like, if you want to play with like with algorithms, you can do that for sure. If you want to follow along, by the way, like after I finish this released, literally the next thing on my docket is hardcore algorithm dev, in which I'm going to be just going through tons of DeepMind papers, trying to figure out all the new stuff that DeepMind has done, and like what things would actually be generally useful versus which of them are kind of like academic fluff. There are a whole bunch of unsolved things and like open questions in RL I'm going to be looking at. There'll be a ton of time for algorithms. But you definitely want to have like an end-to-end and working in RL. Like you should get something working first, just so that you have the experience.
Commit ready config slash. Oh. What? Git add. Okay. Hey, rebased, create new, dev branch. Where's config? Okay. Cannot apply. It rebase dash dash. Okay. Setup.py now needs merge. What's the issue here? Oh.
This is interesting.
Yeah, I'm just doing some merge.
FP16. So this is why our AMP is not working. because it's nerfed on NVIDIA chip. AMD hardware could be an out for us, to be fair. I don't know if we want to go down that or not. Would be cool.
Oh, give me a second. Let's set up the
There's
pod.
Luda still sucks though, right?
Where are the C extensions? C extension names, right? Named voids. Oh, we can go. Oh, we can go. Here. Okay. And set up dot poly. Yeah. No get. Get rebase. That should just continue. Okay, successfully rebased. Now let's look.
Wow, I just realized VS Code doesn't have an extension for Python.
Oh, it does.
Not an official one.
I thought not
You're
official,
correct,
but you
it's
can.
not official.
What do you do in
Python.
Yeah, that's what
Python?
I'm
Well,
saying,
you
like,
can
not
do
official.
Python if you want.
Like,
Our
have
new stuff
multiple
is not
ones, but I'm
Python.
talking about the it doesn't have an official Python one, which I think is funny.
I mean, I wrote my own syntax highlighting for micro for Python.
Okay, good. Now that I have that, okay, I update it to the latest branch.
Talking to myself. Hilarious.
Huh?
Oh, I've been talking to myself.
Oh.
Like I was muted.
I see. Python demo. Oh, we don't have demo.py anymore, right? It's source.
Green PufferLib.
Yeah. What's the name? Is it inside PufferLib?
Same
It
directory.
is.
Your run command is Python clean
Python
underscore PufferLib.
Python PufferRL.
Everything else the same.
PufferL.
Clean.
I should probably not just have everything be named some variation of Puff.
I mean,
dash dash mode train dash dash n.
I think he just gave you some stuff, Weston.
What is it?
Is that just syntax highlighting or what? Like,
it's
That's
not even
quite
real.
literally just syntax highlighting.
you just gotta rip that
basic
band-aid right
regex.
off, you know? Just
It's
gotta
gonna be
rip
more
that band-aid
people
right off.
dealing with something.
Did you make this UI bet for Grok?
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
What
this
is
awesome.
what did you make the UI with? Is this Raylib or what is it?
I've made it with it's all one file in index.html. It's all in one file.
Oh, it's just okay, it's cool.
I hit it raw.
Huh.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess
Yeah,
it's a web page, so duh.
Yeah. Well, not well. There are various ways to do it, like that involve lots of JavaScript files and other messes like CSS files, and like I don't want to get into all that.
No more. Oh.
I don't like front end.
Okay.
By the way, Grok got stuck on Jigglypuff disabled its Ember, and it didn't know how to just press up or down to pick a different move. It just kept
No module
pushing A.
named Python.
That's kind of pathetic.
I literally had to
Git
just add it in the prompt right now.
install.
Like it's in the battle prompt now. It'll work.
On. Okay, I see. So I need to do Python setup or
These are not real stats.
Dash E.
Those are not real stats.
You have 69 420 viewers
Jesus, no.
with 1000% win rate and 420 steps taken.
I mean, that was
Clown.
just, I just had no undoing. Those are the numbers that came out. Definitely didn't personally program those numbers.
Alright, I gotta sleep, guys. Hopefully you
Alright.
help and get this thing work. If not, I do tomorrow. I gotta sleep. Tomorrow I'm gonna
Yeah.
try to do that refactor. I'm gonna try to do docs. I'm just gonna try to like actually get as much damn stuff
Alright.
as I can done because this release needs to be done. Like I'm sick of
Yeah.
it. Like we have all the results. The experiments are coming in. Actually, why don't the last thing we'll do is let's just take a look and see if we have any results in.
And I will not bother you, and I'll finish this damn man.
Finish ends is a good idea.
Yeah. So are we gonna
Lysander.
do continuous? I haven't tried to troubleshoot
Oh
continuous.
my!
With Joseph.
I hate you, PyTorch.
It better work.
Okay. Yeah.
Dude,
I'll get to it.
I hate my GPU. Pip install. Torch.
Wait, how much VRAM does the 1080?
How much what?
Yeah, you've still got a better GPU than me in literally every way.
Oh, there we go.
Well, the problem is that look at this. I'm getting runtime errors because PyTorch 12.6 is not good with CUDA this, so I'm gonna
Yeah,
have to do
same.
this.
Rite of passage.
I have to do PyTorch, and they have a way to
You're
install it
gonna
for
find out you're in
11.8.
driver hell.
CUDA was completely broken on Windows. It literally just didn't work because I had to
Oh.
install like 12 different versions of it, and even then it was broken.
Are you running on Windows?
Where is the docs?
No, I switched to
PyTorch.
Ubuntu now.
Yeah, like
Where's
use
the install?
WSL and you can just install
Learn.
all the
Where's
drivers on Windows.
No, they were pre-installed. They were
PyTorch
pre-installed.
install?
Yeah, sometimes you have to manually get the right things.
If you want
Here,
my
okay.
opinion, if you have a Windows machine with an NVIDIA GPU, do not use their GPU installer. Manually install it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Weird.
No,
I was they released when they changed the control panel, they broke all the drivers, and it was supposed to be a change that apparently only broke the 40 series, but for some reason it also broke mine, and I had to manually find it and uninstall it, and because I had parental controls on the machine, it was absolutely hell because I had to enter
Oh,
the admin
no.
code like 10 times, so I'm constantly calling my dad over like, Dad, you gotta type in the code. Dad, come back, you gotta type in the code.
This is why I should be able to use my own PC like a real boy. That's freaking rough.
I remember having, I had parental controls, and back then, you could have exploited them because they would pop in a delay of like half a second, and if you click a specific, I found if you click a specific thing, it would not pop at all, so I would just have unlimited time on my PC.
Well, it wasn't just parental controls. It was also that because of the parental controls, I didn't have admin, right?
Yeah, that was your issue. Well, my issue was not being able to play Counter-Strike.
Man, I remember when Counter-Strike 1.6 came out. That was good stuff.
You want to play Counter-Strike. I want to use my GPU. We are not the same.
Yeah.
Y'all are weak. When my parents took away my computer, and granted this was years ago, I literally cut the internet. Like, cut the Ethernet cords.
Why?
Ethernet? Like, okay, first off, it was dial-up. I had 28.8 in those days, and the parental controls were they took the keyboard. They take the keyboard and mouse. They literally hide them. I went to Walmart and got a new keyboard, which I kept and brought with me so I could use the computer. It was one computer.
My parents took my things. I went in their room and took their things.
All right. Well, I wasn't petulant like that. Although I've been called abrasive recently by my parents, who are great people, by the way.
Yeah.
Funny. All right.
Yeah. See you.
I'll
Joseph.
see you guys.
Thank you.
I'm
good night,
launching
Jay.
a couple last.
Have a good night,
All I'm doing is I'm ablating real quick like
That's why I end up
some
staying up all night.
sweeps, just like
That's
a
one more
couple
thing, just
small
one more thing.
things. fucking like just so I have something
Yeah.
going overnight, so I just get some more data.
I'm gonna have this freaking end of working.
Yeah, it's just they're like all these little tiny obnoxious
No, it
bits.
just overlooks by me, you know. It's just very like not adding that in the bindings.py file and stuff like that, you know. Adding the
Yeah, lots of little, details.
yeah.
Am I on Pufferbox 5? Oh, yeah, I shouldn't be touching this. What am I doing? That's the wrong box. That's Aaron's stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just make a new.
Okay. Python demo.py. Not. Oh, right. There's no demo.py. It's So
Let's see if I can figure out how to get around this disabled move. The cursor is on Ember, which appears to be strong, available move, so I'll press A to select and use it. Come on, Grok.
no module UV pip.
I see that the move Ember is disabled in the battle menu.
You should probably add psutil to
so I need to
setup.py.
do
Mm-hmm.
another damaging move like Scratch.
It's in
to continue.
CleanRL right
He's doing
now.
it.
I have to move
He's
it
doing
around.
It worked.
No module named
No, Grok, no
gymnasium.
pip
Pip
crawl.
install PufferLib of CleanRL. Bracket
So
CleanRL.
so UV UV pip
Or whatever.
install dash
Grok picked Scratch.
e
Jigglypuff is dead.
clean RL. UV is actually nice. Like it's fast. It like doesn't
Yeah, but
take
you know, it's
forever.
written in Rust, so like,
Yeah.
Rust people are
written in
kind of
Rust.
weird, you know.
Come on. I don't want PyTorch 12.6. I want the PyTorch but
More like Jigglypuff gone in a flash.
you go UV pip install. If I do clean RL, does that work? E.
All right, off
Problem with this.
There it is.
Okay. Okay, so I need to go to Torch. Build Torch. Okay, I'm gonna comment that out.
Are you building a Docker container?
Cool.
All right, I gotta sleep. So I will say, because there are some folks on YouTube, for folks watching, more dev tomorrow, cleaning some stuff up, do docs, whatever we need to do, getting this release ready. It's all open source. Find it at puffer.ai. Want to help me out for free? Start the GitHub. And if you want to get involved with dev, you know, most of these things are written by contributors who came in with zero RL experience. It's a great way to get into AI. Great way to contribute to science. It's a great way to learn stuff. Join the Discord for that. And otherwise, follow me on X for more